I do. I find the voice grating. It feels like my teeth are like when I hear
don't
that.
think it's supposed to sound good. It should make you feel
No,
good.
I know. I know that that's the goal. I'm just saying, like,
Exterminate!
but there's like a grind to it. It's like a.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say it's like the gears are grinding, you know?
Yeah,
Like, it's like
that's
a little bit more mechanical.
It's so It's not even unsettling.
very
It's
like,
just like a. Yeah, yeah. There's some throat music going on there. Yeah. I mean, I get how that could have been like creepy in the 60s. It's creepy now, I guess, but it's creepy in like a stop sounding like that way more
you
than
sound like that.
Hello, I'm Kevin.
I'm Rachel.
And this is Shelf Life, a podcast where a brother and sister team go through all things pop culture, one at a time, of all different genres, in various types of media, to determine whether or not they belong on your shelf, both digital and physical. And today, we continue our path in space and time in a big blue box, because we are continuing our journey through what, Rachel?
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Doctor Who Series 1.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
I
can be more specific if you'd like.
Yes, probably be slightly more specific.
Doctor Who Series 1, Part 2.
Part 3.
Part 3.
This is the 6th episode we are covering of Doctor Who. Rachel, what is the 6th episode of Doctor Who?
The Doctor meets an old enemy called the Dalek. And it's called the Dalek.
Now, I do think that the episode should have been called Blogar, but that's just me.
I mean, it's a way better name.
I know that the Dalek is like the Joker or the Green Goblin or the Yankees to the Doctor Who's hero, right? Like, I get that it's the arch enemy of everything.
Sure.
So they had to bring the Dalek into this at some point. Like, even though they're trying to like get rid of like a lot of the classic Doctor Whovian stuff, like, you got to bring the Dalek back.
Right.
I mean, and I always call it Blogart because of Community, and we used to say that to you, because in that their Doctor Who parody, which I cannot remember the name of right now, but the Dalek was Blogart.
It like popped into my head. I need to see it now.
It's like Inspector Space or something.
Time.
Inspector
Space
yeah.
Time. Yeah.
I feel like it like came to me. It's like it's Inspector, because I know that they keep going Inspector. This episode should not be called Dalek.
Okay.
They should not have shown the Dalek. Or Blogart. They should not have shown the Dalek in the damn preview for this episode.
No, they really shouldn't have.
I kind of get it from we're trying to promote the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So you are trying to bring people in by saying, hey, next week, it's the return of the Daleks. But I think it would have been better if they left that as a surprise. I think
I think that would have been great if
granted,
it was a surprise.
Like, what's the difference? So, like, nothing now. Like, there's no difference now, almost 20 years as the time of this recording after the episode.
But if you haven't seen this and it's just like your first time going through it, don't watch those previews.
That's true. That's true.
Don't watch those previews, because they are so spoilery. I can't stand it. You have to skip the preview and just go straight to the episode.
Yeah, you cannot watch the preview. I would have rather they called it something like the last of their kind.
Last of their kind. That would have been cool.
Yeah, and that works for both the Dalek and the Doctor. But it fits the episode, and it fits the theme of the episode. Like, something like that would have been a better name than just Dalek. Anyway, that's my opinion, because I think that would have made a good reveal when
it would have been a great reveal.
That
absolutely,
that's the Doctor.
In this episode, once we like start walking through it, they do do a reveal that way. You
Yes.
know, you hear the sounds, you see, like, from their point of view, he's in the shadows. It's like, you don't know what it is, technically.
Technically.
And then it's revealed what it is.
Right. That's the big
Doctor.
grand reveal. With that
Doctor.
voice. So the Daleks, of course, are something from like the 60s. I don't even know when they were first introduced. Rachel, do you know what
Not a
episode they were
clue.
first introduced?
I couldn't tell you.
I will let you know. I mean, their first appearance was in 1963.
In Doctor Who Season 1. In, like, the first season ever.
Yeah. Clearly.
It looks like in every season there's, like, a Dalek episode.
Oh, like
Almost.
in the old days?
Mm-hmm. It looks like,
Okay.
yeah.
If you're going to
I think,
make... So,
yes.
Rachel, can you please explain
Oh, God.
to the folks at home that may not be fans of Doctor Who, such as myself, even though I know what a Dalek is, and I think a Dalek has surpassed common nomenclature at this point.
The look of
But
the
please,
Dalek, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Please explain what a Dalek is. Not just the look, but like what their purpose is.
Okay. So a Dalek was created to be like the perfect being. And they want to destroy anything that is not perfect, that is not them. So they're very, very against everything else. They kill everything that they pretty much see that isn't perfect. They themselves are this weird, like, alien creature inside of an encased suit. And it's kind of like a little robotic thing that they move around in. It has a periscope eye that they can move around. It has, like, interesting arms. One that looks kind of like a laser beam. The other one looks like a plunger. And then it's... How do you describe the shape? Because the shape is very distinctive.
Trash can?
Like a trash
It's
can,
a
but it kind of
bin.
like... It
They
also
call
kind
it
of like goes out at the end. It flares out at the end.
He calls it a pepper pot in this episode, which is probably sort of accurate.
What is a pepper pot?
I think it's the British term for like a pepper shaker.
Yeah, because it has that shape where it like goes from skinny at the top and then it like widens out at the bottom and it has orbs all over it. So that's what it looks like, and it has like it contains a little alien creature. Oh, it's almost octopus squidish with like a brain. So that's kind of what that creature looks like on the inside.
Yeah. So if you're making a television show in the early 60s and one of the enemies is going to be something that its priority is to kill, and its priority is to kill anything that in particular does not fit your idea of perfection or is different, you are very clearly making a allusion to Nazis, right?
Yes. I would assume, yeah.
So that is their origin, is that they're a stand-in for Nazis.
Absolutely.
And it still works. Now, this episode I thought was going to get into a little bit of like, is there a gray area? I prefer usually, I don't want to necessarily have sympathetic villains. Some villains can be sympathetic and that works. I like to have a little bit of gray with the villains, a little bit, to understand their point. But it's also fun to have villains that are
just evil.
Just pure evil.
Yes.
And I think that's where the Daleks stand, right? They're
yes, I would say
they're
so.
programmed to kill. That's their only purpose.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the idea behind like Nazi adjacent, right? Like they're just these killing machines. They're merciless and they're ruthless and they don't have feelings and anything like that.
Right. I don't think they mentioned Davros or Skaro in this one, right? Do you remember those names?
They don't mention those names.
Okay.
Looking
That's
at the
fine.
wiki a little bit, I know that they
I don't have to talk about it. That's why I'm just asking.
Sure. They make reference to the creator, like the person that created the Daleks.
Yes.
When they talk about what the Daleks are, they're these mutated. It's this mutated species, or the species that was genetically engineered for this specific task. So one of those guys that you said is the person that created them. Yeah. So they're alluding to that.
Skaro is the location.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this is definitely the episode that gets into a lot of the lore of Doctor Who, in my opinion. That we're clearly talking about more of the
Time War.
Yeah, that's the word. The Time War, for sure.
Because the Daleks were involved, apparently.
Doctor Who, exterminate. See, like, it takes a while to get there. That's their catchphrase, is exterminate.
Exterminate is their catchphrase. That is correct. Because they exterminate all beings that are not perfect.
They wanted to do a Return of the Daleks type of story where they could show how much of a menace that they were when they first debuted. Because I think, like you're saying, Rachel, they've been in every season thus far, so I'm sure somewhere over time there's been great episodes, there's probably been bad episodes, there's probably been goofy stuff that happens to them.
Of course.
So I think that this was an attempt to try to be like, no, these guys are killing machines. They're quite literally killing machines.
Yes. Make it a little darker.
Yeah, and make it emotional. Like,
Yes.
have a lot of... Make sure that there is a lot of expression in it as well.
Absolutely.
So, shall we get right into Dalek?
I think we shall.
This episode is the 161st story of Doctor Who, debuted on April 30th, 2005, written by Robert Sherman, and it is directed by Joe Ahern. I probably said that wrong. Apologies, Joe, if you're listening to this podcast, but like and subscribe. Ahearne.
E-R-N-E?
Ahearne. Ahern.
I'm like, are you sneezing?
Ahern? Yeah, maybe Ahern. That could be one. I will accept Ahern.
Ahern.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're saying that properly. We're looking it up. Ahern. Okay, go on.
Okay. So the episode begins. The TARDIS has taken them somewhere off course. And they're like, okay, where are we and when are we? And they are in Utah. Lovely Utah in the year 2012. But they're a half-mile underground. So we don't get to see any of the United States in this episode. It is in a bunker somewhere.
Yes,
and
strictly.
you are there the entire time. I even said that the coloring even looks a little bit different in this one. They're tinting it a little darker.
Yes.
In my opinion. I don't know if that's true, but
like a bit of a shade. Yeah.
It seemed like it.
Very dramatic lighting, if there is lighting.
Yes. And a lot of this looks like just very boxy, very steelish, very warehousey, which I'm sure probably helped a little bit with the budget after doing like all of those alien designs.
Oh, sure,
so
yes.
We end up finding out that it is a big museum of alien stuff. It's huge. There's stuff all over the place. Displays of all of this different alien tech and alien bodies.
A Slitheen arm?
There's a Slitheen arm.
Yeah. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm. I do. I do remember that one. They were fat and farted.
Yep.
The doctor points out the millimeter from the Roswell crash. I thought it was the arc reactor from the Iron Man suit.
Like it looks like an arc reactor. It's true. They should have had the gauntlet.
Yes, there should have been the Infinity Gauntlet. Should have been there for sure.
The Infinity Gauntlet would be in this room.
That would have been fun. I figure that there's some Easter eggs that are either in Doctor Who lore or other stuff.
Oh, of course.
I looked on the wiki. One of the things on the wiki said that there's a xenomorph egg or something like that.
Okay.
In one of the somewhere near the TARDIS, there's a xenomorph Easter egg.
Sure.
I don't know if that's true. If you see it, Rachel, let me know. But
there is some sort of egg.
yeah, so I guess it's supposed to be a xenomorph egg.
All right. I'll take their word for it.
All right. There is a Cyberman. I know that one.
You know the Cyberman
there's nothing
head.
else. I don't know what they are, but I know what a Cyberman head is because like
so
that's
they
what
also
it
have
has
a
to be.
catchphrase.
God, what is their catchphrase?
Yeah, it's delete, delete, delete.
Oh, that's so close to exterminate.
Well,
that feels like a ripoff of the Dalek.
Upgrading. They're more so upgrading everything than exterminating it. They want to upgrade. We're just going to upgrade you.
Okay, so they want to integrate them into the Cyberman society.
That's correct. There's
Okay.
nothing to fear. We're going to upgrade you. Delete.
Oh boy. So this thing looks like a dream from the 60s as well. This Cyberman. It's a Tin Man head. The Doctor stares at it for...
This is the original,
is.
like, Cyberman look, yeah.
Yeah. The Doctor stares at it for a moment. She says, like, do you know this one? And he's like, yeah, it's a friend of mine, or an enemy, actually. The stuff of nightmares. And he says, I'm getting old. Because I think he's just thinking about, like, all the adventures he's been on. Which, as we know,
sure.
He's been on 160 adventures that we've gotten to see. So, quite a bit.
Exactly.
He says the signal is still reaching out, calling for help. So, the TARDIS threw them off course because there was some sort of signal, a distress call across time and space. So, It's some sort of being that can do that. And it brought them here to 2012 Utah in this bunker. And Jackie and Rose says...
No Jackie in this episode.
Unfortunately, there is no Jackie. Rose says, is that the thing that's giving off the signal? And the Doctor's like, no, this is dead. The signal is something that's alive. It's still calling for help. But before he can do anything, or before they like have any idea of what it could be, an alarm goes off, and a bunch of army guys surround them with guns and stuff. So they've been captured or something.
Or something.
And or something. And Rose says that, well, if this is an alien museum, they've kind of got another exhibit here with you. Now, the music swells and we go into the credits. The music swells. They pivot the camera over to a random soldier with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then it pivots back to the Doctor, who then smiles. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do about their pacing or their editing here. Who am I to judge with our episodes of Shelf Life? But wouldn't it have been better if she says, well, they've got Exhibit A right here. He smiles, and it goes to credits. Why did you cut to this army guy and then cut back? It felt off. It felt like they missed something there. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I know what you mean.
It's just
it
those
almost
little
feels like
things.
maybe they'd show the army guy first and then have Rose like go to Rose
And
and
then
then
have
go
her
to the
say it.
Doctor
Yeah.
and he just like laughs about it.
She gives you the punch to send you into the credits. Like
Yes.
that's the punch to send you there. I don't know. It's those little things that I can find where it's like, why is it that way? That's the wrong way.
Right.
Bad Wolf 1 is descending. So another reference to Bad Wolf, which I picked up on because I've kind of said, I think, in our last Shelf Life episode that I'm clearly supposed to be paying attention to that.
Bad Wolf.
Don't know what it means, but it's clearly some sort of thing that's an Easter egg. And maybe you're not even supposed to think about it. I would say you're not supposed to think about it based on this one and the last one, where it was just the graffiti and the name of the helicopter is Bad Wolf.
Sure.
But from the Charles Dickens episode, the maid was so insistent on Bad Wolf being a bad thing that clearly it means something. Yes, like clearly that means something. If it was just this little thing that's saying, then it would just be like a little Easter egg, like an Alfred Hitchcock kind of cameo thing.
Yeah.
The helicopter is owned by Henry Van Staten.
The biggest douchebag.
So this guy, Henry Van Staten, is played by Corey Johnson, who you've seen in stuff, Rachel. He's like a character actor.
Yeah, I could see that.
Who's been in shit all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
But he
I couldn't tell you anything else. I would recognize him from this.
Yeah,
so.
you'd recognize him. He shows up in stuff. He's definitely a that guy type of actor. Like, I even said, like, oh, it's that guy. But I couldn't tell you why I knew him. Or, like, from what. But he definitely is a that guy. He's playing Henry Van Staten. Who, by the way, Rachel, when I looked on the wiki to just kind of see any, like, facts about this episode.
Okay.
They have, on the TARDIS wiki, this whole backstory about this guy. He's got, like, a whole biography about his life.
Okay.
He's the son of Edward Van Staten, the billionaire owner of the Van Staten Corporation, who I think is the portrait in his office is of
the one
supposed
that looks
to be
like
of the
him,
dad.
but not quite.
Yeah. Yeah. And it goes through this whole thing about, like, how he grew up loving the stars and Star Wars and got a telescope.
Well, I mean, I guess he kind of mentions that stuff throughout.
Yeah, but no. This is like a
lot.
whole, like, this is like a full-on, like, fake biography. Like,
Oh, that's
like
nuts.
it's telling you everything
That's really
about
nuts.
this guy. I don't know if what that could be from. Like, does Doctor Who have not fake? Does Doctor Who have novelization stuff?
Yes.
Like Star Wars? Okay. I have a feeling a lot of that is in those.
There's books, there's comic books.
Okay. Yeah, there is comic books. I do know that. So, okay, it's got to be from all that stuff. Because it's got to be, like, take characters
It would
from
make sense.
these things and kind of make them into things.
Sure, I could see that because it's going to be like all their adventures that we don't get to see on TV.
Yeah. So this guy, Henry Van Staten, is clearly this bigwig that owns or is operating this underground bunker type of place. We find out that it is his birthday. This assistant comes up and says that the president says hi and happy birthday, and Van Staten's reply is, the president is down 10 points. I'm replacing him. And the assistant is like, do you think that that's a good idea? And he's like, you're fired. Who's next? So you get this. It's a very cartoonish kind of
very cartoony business guy.
look at a businessman, American billionaire, 2005. Right. Yeah. The next one up, because the assistants are all just kind of like standing in a row. So it literally is just like, okay, that guy got fired. And Van Staten is like, make sure like you just kind of like dump him on a road, Minneapolis or I can't even remember, Missouri.
Memphis, Minneapolis,
he says like
something beginning with an M.
Yeah, he wants to go with something beginning with an M. The next assistant comes up and it's this tall woman, very tall.
Oh yeah.
He asks her, who should the next president be, a Democrat or a Republican? And she suggests a Democrat. And he goes, why? And she goes, because they're funny. And he stops them all from walking because they're doing like a walk and talk, like the West Wing.
Oh, it's very a walk and talk bit. Very, very.
He stops them all and he asks for her name. And she goes, Goddard. And he goes, I like you, Goddard. And then he goes, where's my English kid? So again, it's all this stuff.
Yes.
Rachel, I have a bone to pick with you about this English kid.
Go for it. I don't like him, but go for it.
Okay, because
I'm
quite
not a
frankly,
huge fan of this character.
Spoiler alert for the end of this episode. Adam is this character's name, and he gets to go with them for some reason. I hope he doesn't make it.
Do you want me to tell you anything?
No.
Do you want to wait?
I want to wait.
Okay.
So this Adam kid, this pudgy little shit who looks like a British teenager from 2005.
Yeah.
He's got this baby face.
He does
like,
have a baby face.
He looks unappealing to me. He does not have an appealing face. But this English kid says that there are... I guess I could call him Adam. I know his name.
But you're playing the bit of the billionaire, so it's fine.
And this billionaire, by the way, I've got to say this.
His bunker is less than Lex Luthor. I just gotta say that too.
It's terrible. It's terrible. He's a shitty Lex Luthor.
Oh,
You're
he's
right,
not a good
Rachel.
Lex. I think
he's
that's
a
kind
shitty
of
Lex
the
Luthor.
feel.
He even like Lex, at least in the Superman movie, had a wig collection. Like, this guy would at least have a wig collection. We know this because there are billionaires today that think they own the internet.
Yes.
And they've gotten hair plugs.
Oh, of course.
So this guy would clearly do that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he's comfortable with himself. And folks at home, you should be comfortable with yourself. Everyone goes through that. You know, I'm getting older. My hair has got thinner spots on it. So it's like, it's fine. You just have to deal with it like an adult.
You roll with it. Yeah. You don't need to get fake teeth and a lot of work done. You can make your teeth look good, but you don't need to get the veneers in and look fake. Right. Don't make yourself look fake. Yeah, what's
make
the
yourself
point?
look
like
good.
You.
Look good, not fake.
Look healthy.
What the hell was my point of this? Okay,
I don't know.
The English kid says there are 10...
You were going to say something about the billionaire, and then you kind of...
No, I was saying that I was going to say what you ended up saying, where it's like he has this shitty lair, and he's not wearing like a very, like...
He's just wearing a button down that doesn't even look ironed.
today you could compare him to a Musk, or you could compare him to...
True.
Like, I think they were trying to compare him to, like, a Gates back then.
I suppose,
which is
yeah.
weird, but, like...
Yeah, because he's also saying, I'm a genius, and all of this crap, too. Yeah.
But you could compare him to a lot of, like, these billionaires today. It feels like, okay, maybe they're just trying to make, like, their own type of character. It's not, like, it's supposed to be a specific spoof. Because you could have him dressed, like, super fancy, or trying to be hip, or trying to be, like, a Zuckerberg, like, wearing his fuck you flip-flops, or whatever.
Right.
But it seems more just kind of like they didn't go full on in any of those directions necessarily. So to your point, he comes off more as just like kind of like B-level Lex Luthor.
Yes.
Like he's not taking down Superman. That's for damn sure. The English kid says that there are 10 more items that he bought from auction. And before they can kind of go through those items, Goddard? I don't know. Goddard, that's the one. Says that
Wait,
there
is it
are...
Goddard? Because that sounds...
I think you're right. It is
Wait
Goddard.
a minute. No, because isn't that from Jimmy Neutron? Goddard is the dog. Is that how you say her name?
I think that's how you say her name, and I definitely couldn't tell you about the Jimmy Neutron connection. Jimmy Neutron, is he like Kid Doctor Who? He kind of is like a Kid Doctor Who,
Pretty
right?
much,
That's
yeah.
his premise.
Yeah, I mean, he's big-brained, you know.
But he's got
Very
like a
smart.
TARDIS of his own, right? Like he can travel through space and time.
I think just through space. I don't think he can... I don't think he does time.
Okay. Maybe one day we'll do some... If there's a Jimmy Neutron good enough for a Shelf Life Selects, maybe we'll get there.
Could be a Saturday morning cartoon.
A Saturday morning Shelf Life, Rachel.
A Saturday morning Shelf Life, yes.
Goddard says that there were intruders on some level, and they need to like take care of these intruders. Van Staten also says that he wants to visit his pet. So that's the first like indication that we have of like there's something here.
Yes.
Goddard calls this guy named Simmons, who's in a hazmat suit in some room. And I figured this would have given it away if you were a Doctor Who fan, because you get the Dalek's point of view,
Yes.
which
and
is that
it like
blue
pans a little
ball.
bit.
Yeah.
It's almost like a fisheye lens.
Exactly, because it is like the round ball like view that the Dalek has, and Simmons is asked by Goddard like, "Do you have it yet? Like, do you have any progress yet? Is it talking?" And Simmons says it's not talking, but it is doing something, and he's like clearly like torturing it, and you kind of hear that
it's like screaming. Yeah, the voice is probably what
it
people
sounds
are like,
like
I
a
know
drill.
What it is.
Yeah. But if you know what it is, then you know what it is. Yeah, and he says it's screaming, so like like they're torturing the thing.
Right.
The English kid is showing him an artifact when they bring the doctor to this office. And the doctor tells Van Staten, don't hold it that way. They're like, well, is it dangerous to hold it that way? And the doctor's like, no, it's just stupid looking. Like, you're not
right.
holding
You're
it
like,
right.
you're just holding it wrong. Like, it looks dumb.
So Van Staten gives it to him, and the doctor shows him that it's a musical instrument. So he like kind of like does like a hoo 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 thing with his fingertips.
Yeah, it's like you pet it, almost.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like, what's the thing with like the
it's
Star
like
Trek,
a
sound. What is that called?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. A theremin.
It's like a person's
that
name.
right?
Theremin.
Yes, the doctor uses this thing and plays it with his like fingertips. I read on one of these websites that the melody that he plays is similar to a melody from one of the Dalek episodes. So
okay.
like that's another
So it's like a callback.
connection.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Van Straten takes it back, like he yanks it out of this guy's hands, and it's like, Van, like calm the fuck down. Like I get it, like you're like a billionaire tyrant, but like, dude, stop this. And he tries to play it, and he does figure it out. So like Van Straten does like understand, like he wants to be able to understand this alien technology.
Right. He doesn't want to just keep it. He wants to understand it too.
Yeah. Well, because as we find out, he's used the alien technology to like come up with broadband and the internet and stuff. So he's using, if it's useful, he's figuring it out, which is why he ends up throwing the instrument away. And I guess like for him, it's not like something that matters.
It's not a useful thing, but I understand it now. But you know, because I'm smart, I can figure this out. But this has no use.
He asks who the doctor is, and he says, "I'm the doctor. Who are you?" And Van Straten says, "Oh, like you don't know. You just came into one of the biggest artifacts or like places where there's like a museum of alien technology and you don't know who I am. Like, bullshit. You just stumbled in here by mistake. How'd you get in?
Yeah,
and the
'cause it doesn't
doctor's
make
like, no,
any
that's...
sense.
Doctor's kind of like, that's kind of how I roll. That's kind of my thing. And Van Stratton's like, well, you must be a collector too. You have your little harem over here, your prostitute. I love that the first inclination that all of these people that they meet are like, are you banging her? Like, that's the
so
first
gross.
thing that they
It's
all
so
think.
gross.
Like, you could be like, is this your niece?
Right.
Like, there could be a million different explanations
The doctor used
here.
to travel with his granddaughter. Like, come on now.
He has a granddaughter?
Yeah, that's like in the originals.
Okay.
She's the one who termed TARDIS. Didn't we talk about this?
I don't think so.
Oh, so she's the one who actually termed the TARDIS name.
So what happens to her? Is she dead in the Time War?
Actually, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
She went to college, then she got killed in the Time War.
She probably is dead. That's gonna be my guess.
Well, because it wasn't like the first Doctor, like an old man.
Oh yeah, he was an
like,
old-ass man, yeah.
Yeah. Van Stratton says that Rose is very pretty, and Rose, being Rose, is like, well, if you keep referring she as she's gonna kick your ass, or whatever she says.
Like clock you or something, yeah.
And Van Stratton's like, oh, you got an English one too? I've got an English one right over here. I got an
Our
English guy.
ones could go together.
I got an English guy. I got a German guy over there. There's a French one somewhere over here. I don't know where he's at. Do you have one of those too? So we find out that he owns the internet. And Rose is like, no one owns the internet. And by God, Rachel, they are trying to. We have people that are definitely trying to own the internet.
Absolutely. All around the world.
But I think Van Stratton literally does own the internet. Like, I think that's supposed to be the thing. He controls what websites you get to see and shit like that. I think that's supposed to be more the idea. So maybe he doesn't own the internet, quote unquote, but he controls what you can do or something like that.
Yeah, like he controls a lot of pieces that put it together.
And he says we would just want them to keep thinking that. Like, nobody owns the internet.
Okay, yeah.
I wrote down he's essentially a more accomplished Mark Zuckerberg / Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He's also way more of a hermit.
Intelligent.
He likes to hide himself away. Oh, yeah, also intelligent, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Both. I mean, Elon Musk is trying to get into space, so...
If Elon Musk got into space, he would do exactly what Van Stratton is doing now.
Yes. He would take advantage of the things that he finds and like
yes, 1,000%.
Uh-huh.
Except for he would also fuck the thing. Like,
he would fuck it first, then he would take advantage of it, and then he would.
The first thing Van Stratton looked for was a hole on the Dalek. That is the first thing he did.
Sadly, I don't disbelieve you. Or I don't. I
Can't dispute
I believe
that.
you. I can't dispute it.
So he says that he has like a cage downstairs or on one of these levels, and in it he has one living specimen. And there's a bunch of back and forth between the Doctor and Van Stratton, and the camera's like actually like going back and forth to them, and they're saying like these little phrases of like, you want to see it? And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, I got a living thing down there. And he's like, okay, I'll look. Like, it's just back and forth to try to give you like these two high egos, large egos.
Yes.
Going back
Kind
and
of
forth
button
with
heads.
each other.
And even Rose points this out. She goes, wow, really smells like testosterone in here. Like,
yeah. So she catches on that they're in this little pissing match or dick measuring contest with each other. Van Stratton tells English boy to watch over the girl, and they can canoodle or spoon or whatever that the English do, and invites the Doctor to go see his pet. Snog would have been the appropriate term, but I do not think that he knows snog.
I don't think he knows much. Well, I think he does, but he also lets on that he knows more than he does.
According to the Wikipedia, there were parents' rights groups that did not like the term canoodling and spooning being used in Doctor Who.
Canoodle. The
like,
word
are you fucking
canoodling
kidding
is
me?
Great.
That's like such like the
that is so
most
nothing.
tame
Spoon. You can't use the word spoon.
Canoodle's a good word. I don't mind the word canoodle. I feel like canoodle can refer more to like they're up to something more than like necessarily a
conspiring a little
sexualized
bit more.
tone. Yeah.
Yeah.
there's signs of life inside the thing, but they can't really like figure out what it is or what it's supposed to do. Right. Simmons tells them when they get down there that the Metaltron is resting.
The Metaltron, stupid.
Yeah, it's a bad name, and the doctor.
Much better.
Blowguard would have been better. The doctor is like Metaltron, and Van Straten says it's a term that he came up with, but he wants to know what its real name is. So Simmons offers the doctor these gloves, and he's like, "Here, you're gonna need these." The last guy that touched it burst into flames, and the doctor's like, "Well, then I won't touch it. Then it is like a good like." Well, then why would I try to touch it? Even the people in the background, including Goddard, are kind of like, "Oh yeah," like he's kind of got them on that. Like, why would he touch the thing? Doctor goes in, and they shut the door on him, and and Van Straten tells them, like, don't open that door until we get a result.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor sees these tools on, like, you know, it's your typical, like,
it's like a
torture rack kind of thing of, like, here's, like, scalpels and, like, these different tools that they clearly were, like, trying to torture the thing with.
Or trying to open it. I'm also thinking that they were just trying to open it.
They don't know necessarily that it's armor, like the aliens from Independence Day.
I think they're just like, it's just a robot.
Which I also didn't know that. I thought the Daleks were just robots. I did not know that they were
a little alien inside.
Independence Day aliens, with wearing armor. But the doctor says, like, I'm here to help. Like, I understand that, you know, you've probably been through some stuff, but don't worry, I'm here to help. I'm the doctor.
I've come to help. I'm the doctor. Impossible.
Doctor! Exterminate! Exterminate! Exterminate!
Sir, it's gonna kill him.
It's talking.
You must be destroyed!
And of course, this triggers the Dalek.
And the doctor immediately goes, "Oh my god."
I thought that this could have been played up a little bit better too, a little more dramatically.
There would have been great drama.
A pan zoom in on the doctor, or him being like, "Oh my god," like it's impossible. Like he just goes like, "It can't be," and it's like it's flat. There's no movement to the camera.
Yeah, I wish there was a little bit more on the doctor's face.
Yeah, if there was a little more movement, a little more urgency to the doctor, that would have sold it more for me.
I like the light up of the Dalek, where he's like, his ears light up. I call them the ears. I don't know what the hell those are. Like the little lights on his head.
Sensors or something.
They light up and he's getting a bit brighter. And then all of a sudden they turn the lights on for some reason. I like that it's like, that's the reveal.
Yes.
But I wish there was more of like the panning on the doctor and a little bit more drama there.
I think that would have helped sell it more. He wants out because he knows the Dalek's going to shoot him and kill him. But, of course, Van Straten won't let him out because he's like, we're finally got the thing to talk. I'm not going to let him out now.
Right.
But the thing can't kill him. It's
he tries
weapons
to, but
are
nothing's
destroyed
shooting.
Or something.
Yeah, because he even looks down at his own hand like, damn it, it's not working.
Mm-hmm. And then the doctor starts laughing in its face. And is pissed, and
the doctor becomes the biggest ass.
He starts going crazy, and he calls it the Great Space Dustbin. He starts mocking it. He's going nuts. If you can't kill, what's the point of you? You're nothing. Why are you even here? Big piece of shit. You ought to kill yourself. Which he actually does. He does
say that. He actually says that.
When he asks the Dalek what he's waiting for, the Dalek responds that he's waiting for orders.
Right.
And he demands
just
orders.
A soldier.
Like, the Dalek is looking for orders. So he's a soldier Dalek, so I guess that's kind of the idea. Like, because he wants all the Dalek does.
Yes, he does whatever he's told.
And the doctor tells him his entire race has been wiped out. And he goes, I made it happen. I killed Mufasa!
Yeah, because even the Dalek's like, you're lying. You destroyed us? I can't believe this. Like, I'm alone.
Yeah. So, like, the Dalek does get sad because he's like, I'm alone. Like, I'm the only thing left. And the doctor is like, the doctor actually gets so somber here.
Yes.
I thought this was going to be when the Doctor kind of realizes the gravity of his actions. He kind of does. I think it takes the entire episode to really feel the gravity of his actions.
I think he always feels the gravity of it. I think he just got very vindictive here because he's so angry that it's a Dalek.
Yeah. He says he had no choice. He had to do it. So this is where you kind of figure... This is where I snarkily say, okay, so the Doctor committed genocide. That's good to know.
Yes. Yes. Because then he even says, like, well, what... And the Dalek asks, well, what of the Time Lords?
And he says, no, they're all dead too.
Everybody burned together.
Yeah. So that... And the Dalek is like, oh, okay, so then the coward... You're a coward then. Because he's trying to get back at
That's pretty...
Dr.
I think that's what the Dalek's saying.
Yeah, by saying, like... If you were so righteous, it would be you in that thing. He would have taken himself out too. Which the Doctor, I think, is trying to say, like, I thought I was taking myself out too, but for some reason I survived.
And the Doctor spitefully goes, oh, but I picked up on your signal. Help me. I need help. Like, he, like, starts,
so he's
like,
saying
coming after
you're
him
the
like
coward.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the Dalek's like, I'm alone. And he, like, all of a sudden, he feels that now.
Right. It's an interesting dynamic between
And he calls them
the
same.
Yes, he says, like, we're the same. We're both alone. We're both warriors. Or we were both soldiers in the Time War, so we're pretty much the same.
Yes.
And the Dalek is sad that he's alone in the universe. But he's like, so are you, Doctor. Like, we're both alone.
Yes.
I can't tell if the Dalek is being a bit understanding here, or if it's, like, being manipulative. It's probably more being manipulative.
I feel it's got to be more manipulative at this point.
At this point. I do think it's an interesting dynamic, because if you put it in the context of the Dalek is a fascist that's just kind of out to, like, get rid of anything that's not itself, then how do you deal with that type of character? Mm-hmm. And I think that that's interesting because, like, the Doctor just explodes and feeds into its hate.
Yes, absolutely.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
I think it's a lesson for today, and I don't know what the right answer is, but we have human beings in this world where I think a lot of them would shut the fuck up if you just didn't engage.
Yes.
And I think that the Dalek is trying to get the Doctor to engage with it.
Right.
And I think that's kind of one of those things where it's like, if you have a being like this, don't engage with it.
Right.
Because that's what it's trying to get you emotional and worked up, because it doesn't really give a shit.
No, it's out for
itself.
It's just
trying to get you to be pissed off.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It's riling you up.
It's a nice thing to remember for all of you out there.
Shelf life lessons. The
Doctor says he's going to exterminate him and starts electrocuting him. The Dalek asks for pity, so he's actually, like, trying to get the Doctor's sympathies here.
Right.
But Van Staten stops him before he can kill the Dalek. Staten wants this thing to acknowledge him, I wrote, because he's like, you will know my name, and all I could think of was Roman Reigns being like, acknowledge me. It's the same energy.
It is. It really is.
But it won't give him the pleasure, so Staten will resume the torture. I did read that there was one draft of this. The Dalek could have exterminated the humans. He couldn't exterminate the Doctor for some reason. In the script where he could have exterminated the humans, he thought it was beneath him, or it, to kill these humans because they were being so, like, they're just, like, beneath it. Yeah. So, and torturing it and trying to just get it to, like, talk to it. So it refused, and that's why it wouldn't, like, talk. So I think they changed it to just being like, I refuse to talk to you because, like, you're beneath me. Yeah. So I kind of like that idea. Like, I liked how it morphed into
I like that. Yeah. That's much better.
Meanwhile, Rose is seeing some stuff in this workshop that Adam has. He says it is the English boy. And he's trying to tell Rose, like, yeah, actually, all these aliens exist and all this stuff's been around forever. And, like, we just find it every once in a while and buy it. And it's kind of crazy. And Rose is like, oh, yeah, it's crazy, all right.
Cool. Incredible. Hard to believe.
And she's like, so what do? You like catalog it all? And he's like, yeah, pretty much. And he's like, can you imagine if you would see it all for real? And he thinks like, it would be kind of crazy to actually be out there. And Rose is like, well, there's some people that say that they've been kidnapped by aliens and stuff, so maybe they have seen it. And he's like, yeah, they're all nutters though. And she's like, yeah, that's true. So you're getting this little back and forth. This is supposed to be, and the score would indicate to you that you're supposed to feel like these two are flirting.
Attracted to one another.
Yeah. And again,
He's
Rachel,
annoying.
I don't know how to
gross.
describe him. He's so bland and nondescript.
Yes. I think it's the bland.
I think
He's just,
that's
there's
my
nothing
problem.
to him.
He's so bland.
Yeah.
Like bland looking, he seems bland. He just seems bland.
He's very bland. Butter on toast. Isn't that like a saying?
I think so. But yes, and the British do love shit on toast. So,
Well, it's interesting that they're having Rose be so attracted to this guy. And I don't know if it's just because he's supposed to have like this passion for something and he's like really excited about it and he like wants to adventure and she understands that, and it's like one of those things that she's like feeling that type of like connection.
Yeah.
But he's
maybe
so bland.
I think it's all supposed to be that he has traits that are Doctor-esque. So he's like a genius.
True.
And he knows all this stuff or likes all this stuff about space. He says that when he was, and he's very confident. He's got an ego too.
Yes.
So he said that when he was 8,
Definitely.
he almost caused World War III because he hacked into the U.S. Pentagon or something.
Because it was fun.
Yeah.
That's what he
and
says,
he uses
right? Or
he uses the
funny?
term fantastic. I can't remember what he says, but he does use the word term
It's
fantastic.
just fantastic. And then, yeah, that's true. So she is kind of seeing the Doctor in him. I think that's also very true. But he's just so...
Yeah. He's just kind of blah to me.
Yeah.
Folks, let us know if you disagree. And I do not know where this character is going, but I'd love to know what people think about this character once we finish the volume, because I did not like this character. And then when he walks into the TARDIS, I was like, really? Really? We're taking this guy? This is the guy we're taking with?
Why not Mickey? That's so not fair. I guess because Mickey didn't want to come. But come on.
And I didn't like Mickey at first either, but you developed him into... Like, he had
developed.
a personality to start with, too.
Yes.
He asks, because, again, everyone just assumes that she's some concubine. Are they? And Rose goes, no, we're just friends. And he goes, good. And she's like, oh, why?
It's not
her mouth moves around.
Yeah, she does flirt with it. That is her biggest flirting tool.
That's her flirt move, as she moves her lower jaw back and forth.
Well, she does have like a great jaw structure. Like she has.
She has a lot of
structure.
jaw. Yeah.
So it makes sense.
So, dude likes her. Oh, this is actually what I wrote down. Like,
You just wrote what you just said when you wrote, and I could tell. Dude likes her. Like,
But
yep.
he looks like a doughy Brit. That's what I wrote. And he's got British all over him. If I saw this guy
does look
walking down the
British.
street, I'd be like, that's a British man.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
She flirts with him to get into the communication system, I thought. It was a way that she was like, okay, I can see
That's
what
true.
they're doing down there.
She probably is also using her wilds, her womanly wilds.
Well, I think that she is flirting with him, but she's
Yeah.
like, can we check this thing out? Like,
Right.
And
yes.
she hears it screaming as it is tortured, and she demands to go down there. She's like, where's the doctor? The doctor wouldn't allow for this, because she's seen the doctor get upset about the pig man. So, like, she knows that the doctor
Right. So
cares
she knows
about
that
these creatures.
he has exactly. He has a heart. He wants to help. He came to the distress call, So now
Yeah.
she's thinking it's you guys. You guys are the ones torturing this. That's of course it's screaming for help.
The doctor explains what a Dalek is to Van Straten, and it was genetically engineered by a genius of his own little world. And he says Van Straten would like him because he sees Davos or whatever you
Davos?
said. Yeah,
It's okay. You don't have to know the name right now.
Well, Davos Seaworth did the Onion Knight make the Daleks, Rachel?
The Onion Knight. Oh my
Game of
god,
Thrones. His
Davos
name
from
is
frickin'
Davos.
Game of Thrones. It is like the same name.
George R. R. Martin could have named,
Oh, I could see that.
because
But I mean, that would be a very bad
nerd.
character to name a very nice character after.
They say it was there for decades, the Dalek. So
Yes.
it clearly something with the Time War. You know, John Connor and the Terminators are fighting each other.
Stuff opens
and then
up.
John Connor opens up a time tube or whatever,
Right.
and stuff just gets thrown in there.
Yes.
So, like, a Terminator went through, a fucking Dalek went
That's
through,
right.
the Doctor went through, Kyle Reese is in there now.
Right.
All that shit just gets thrown in, and they didn't know where it was going to end up. So it's been there for decades, they say, and then it's moved around from, like, auction to auction, and now it's ended up with Van Straten. And at this point, I was like, Doctor, I don't know if I'd be telling Van Straten all this stuff about your Time War and shit. One, it sounds crazy. And two, you're telling what's clearly an evil man
Yes.
all about the secrets of the universe here.
I wouldn't tell the man anything. Like, don't even teach him anything about the stuff he has. Like, I don't trust him. How do you
No.
trust him? Why would you even tell him this is a musical instrument? Like,
This is the second or third time in 6 episodes that the Doctor has been, like, simultaneously smarter than everyone and more naive than everyone.
yeah, I think it's
very
because he
weird.
wants to be able to trust people. I think he has this
Yeah.
thing with trust. He like wants to trust them, but he all doesn't trust them. But then he like is very naive, and then at the same time he's like, I'm not gonna do anything. I don't know. It. You can tell that this Bugs Bunny character is very conflicted.
Yes, there's conflict to the Bugs Bunny character. Internal conflict
That's
to the
right.
Bugs Bunny character. Van Straten is like, well, actually, wait a minute. Now, you're saying that you're also an alien? And the Doctor's like, yeah, I'm, from Gallifrey or whatever. And the Doctor, and he doesn't actually tell him that, but he does say, like, yeah, I'm an alien. And Straten's like, oh, well, then that means that I can also play with you. So
Which
they
is
hook.
weird.
So then he immediately tries and looks for a hole on the Doctor. And then he...
Which I
So
would
we don't know what
imagine-
happened
never
there.
mind. But he's strapped up, domineered style.
Yeah, he's got him on a... He's gonna fucking flay him.
He's-
He's got him on like on a
chained
big
up.
X.
And he's on like one of those rollaway things that like
Oh, you think they're gonna stretch his limbs out? You think
I
that was
don't
gonna
know
be the thing?
because like the thing he's on, it's like are you going to like bleed him dry too? I'm like
That's
this
what
is
I was thinking. That it's
creepy.
like he's like a fucking who's the Game of Thrones house that flays the guys?
Oh yeah, because they have that
their
on their
name?
flag. Ramsey.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Ugh.
Boltons. The Boltons.
The
Yeah.
Boltons.
Was Van Straten a Bolton? They're gonna just
Ugh.
drain his blood.
He looks like a Bolton. I'd believe it.
He does kind of look like a Bolton.
I'd believe
I would
it.
not. I wouldn't put that past him. They do these painful X-rays on the Doctor. Like the
Yes.
Doctor is
It's
hurt
like they're just
by
like
this
truly
technology.
shooting him with this stuff though. Like they're just shooting him with rays.
This is where we see that he has a bicameral legislature of a heart here.
He has two
He has 2 hearts. I think you've mentioned that, Rachel, where like
Yes.
he has 2 of everything.
No, just to 2 hearts. As far as
Oh,
I
really?
know.
Oh,
As
I thought
far
that
as I
he
know,
has,
it's
like-
only 2 hearts.
2 stomachs, 2 livers, and that.
You know, he might have
okay,
4
2
stomachs
hearts.
like a cow. We don't know.
I would love that. And the Doctor accuses him of not really being much of a collector. He's more of a scavenger. When
Mm-hmm.
they find alien shit, he he recognizes whatever's shooting him, and he's like, "Oh, you're like a scavenger.
Yes.
You like go to like these sites and stuff and like grab things." He says that he got broadband from the Roswell crash. They found the cure for the common cold in some meteor. But he's like, I'm not going to actually tell anybody about that one because we can sell more drugs just by, knowing what the cure is than actually giving people the cure.
Which
So it's a conspiracy theory.
he is a villain.
This is Doctor Who is actually, folks at home, Doctor
no.
Who is telling us real secret information about what the pharmaceuticals do not want you to know. And the only way that you can get the truth is by getting my dear serum that you can inject right into your bloodstream. That's selling for $39.95 over on prisonplanet.com.
Oh God.
Anyway,
Gross.
the doctor is giving it to Van Straten because he says a Dalek is honest. A Dalek only knows to do one thing. A Dalek knows that the only thing that it's supposed to do is kill.
Right.
They do it for their survival. They think that they're doing this because they have to do it. Van Straten doesn't have to do any of this. So Van Straten is worse than a Dalek. Let's take that for what you will.
Yeah, I mean that's a heavy
Coming from the doctor,
right
for sure.
Yeah.
And the doctor says that the Dalek is going to get out. No one is safe, and they continue to zap the doctor. Rose and Adam are able to get in. Come on, Simmons. What the fuck are you doing here? They let Adam in with Adam's clearance. He's like, hey, I've got clearance here from Van Straten. I can go into this.
I mean, I guess if he's saying like, oh, he wanted me to come in here. He's telling me to bring the assistant down.
I feel like these yes men, though, like with a guy like Van Straten, you'd be like checking with Goddard or something about,
oh my God,
are we supposed to be letting Adam in here?
Absolutely. There'd be like a lot of chain of command here. Little intern wouldn't just be able to come down to the live alien.
I don't think so. I think that at the most, like, Simmons would be like, if you really were, then like he would have given us a heads up that
like,
you're
where's the
supposed to be
paperwork
down
for
here.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. Rose talks to the Dalek and falls for this deception of it being hurt and in pain. And at first I think it's true. Like, it's saying like, I'm in pain. I just want to die. Please just let me die.
Yes.
And then she says, well, it's okay. Like, I have a friend here, the doctor, because she doesn't know that the doctor has met this thing.
Exactly.
He can help you. So now I think the Dalek is like, okay, I can use this to try to get the fuck out of here.
You don't realize that the doctor doesn't like me. You seem sympathetic. Good. Pity me.
Well, there is this back and forth throughout the episode between this Dalek and Rose about fear. So fear is a theme here. Mm-hmm. Like the Scarecrow and Batman before them. The Dalek and Rose are having this moment.
Right.
Because the Dalek goes,
Still they fear me. Do you fear me? I welcome death. But I am glad that before I die, I met a human who was not afraid.
and it says that it's upset that it'll die alone. And when it says this, it gets Rose's sympathies enough that Rose does touch it, which we've heard the last thing that touched it. Yeah. So it clearly had its defenses up and let the guy burst into flames and is letting Rose touch it.
And for a specific reason, because he knows if she's a friend of the doctor, well, you've been in
that she's
TARDIS,
a time traveler. Yeah.
Right.
So she touches it, and it absorbs her genetic material, and it starts reconstructing itself with her DNA, I think.
Right.
Like, does it need time traveler DNA to be able to do that, I guess?
It needed a time traveler piece for it to work. So I think it's like helping to reconstruct himself, probably in a faster, like, regeneration type of way because of the time traveler piece, I think. I think it's fixing the machinery and probably also helping him recover because he hasn't been like doing anything and it's probably like all broken.
Right. Well, they say it's been there for decades and it really hasn't done anything. So you're right. Like it's waiting for
his
orders.
body was kind of like
falling
apart and his machinery is falling apart.
So yeah, now it breaks free of its change and it starts kind of reconstituting itself. I wish that they would have had a budget for more of an orchestral score in this series for this scene. They could have had
like a really great like score for the Daleks.
A good choir sound would have been good for the Dalek getting back into power here of like that, like a ho 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 ho.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
if it has a theme
later. I want to say that is something that happens. Is there is like a ha 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 like music for the Daleks.
Yeah.
Later on.
Well, because like Murray Gold does make these scores more complex and cinematic, I think, as the obviously, because I know some of the tracks and I know outside of the Rose track, and I think that's not even yet, that some of these get more complex as you go along, like the Doctor Forever and all that shit.
Absolutely.
it feels like there should be there should be a menacing,
Absolutely.
choiry, spatial score to the Daleks' vindictiveness and hate
Absolutely.
to me.
It works
Okay.
very well.
The Simmons guy comes in and he's like, "What have you done?" And then it's just like, what the fuck?
Well,
So this thing's got like a plunger on its nose, and
it's one of its hands.
or whatever.
of
And
its hands.
Simmons is like, "What are you gonna do with what is that? What is this?" And it suckers him to death. Rachel, what is this? What is this?
Maybe it's a very slow death. He is like actually like sucking in his
That's-
face,
yeah,
so
that
that
would
he
work.
can be tortured.
Oh yeah, that would work. They said that they did have behind the scenes where they had it. The Dalek takes its face off, or takes the
That would've
guy's
been
face off.
great. Oh, I would have loved that. It's too dark, but I would have loved
They-
that.
They didn't think that the BBC would let them get away with it, so they cut
Oh,
that
it
part.
would have been so good. Oh, somebody get me like the R-rated version of Doctor Who, where it's just super violent.
It tells them to release it if you want to live. They do right away.
Well, they lock him in. They lock
They
him
lock
into...
it into the
Yes.
cage. But now that it's like got access to stuff, oh, that's what they say. Release me if you want to live. So we go back to the doctor, and the doctor's like, they tell Van Straten that the Dalek is out, and the doctor's like, well, you better release me if you want to live. And they immediately do. Like the
Yes.
next scene is just them running with the
Well,
doctor,
I
and
think
I was like,
because Stratton isn't stupid, but he's
no,
stupid.
I get that. Like, it's
So he's
like,
like,
okay,
well,
just
yeah,
trim
you're
the,
right, 'cause I
just
don't know
trim
how
the
to deal with
fat.
him.
Like, don't even bother. Like, yeah, like, okay, fine. Like, there's no negotiation of it. It's just like, okay, fine. I believe you.
It doesn't mean that he's going to let him leave the compound. It just means you can deal with the Dalek.
Right. They've got him caught in the cage, and they're like, don't worry, like, that code is 20 digits long or something. Like, it'll take forever for the thing to be able to figure it out. And of course, because it's Doctor Who and everything needs to be overpowered, the doctor's like, no, it's like a genius. It can figure out millions of combinations in a nanosecond. Because it's just the most badass thing you've ever seen. It'll fucking eat your face. So the Dalek figures out what the combination is right away and gets out. I like the fact
They're just top
that...
tier hackers. That's all. They're fine.
Yeah, that's all. Well, you saw that thing. That looks like every like internet troll you've ever seen. It's just this little squid eyeball creature. That looks like every time you read a comment on the internet, that's what I picture. It's either somebody that's got Cheeto dust all over them, or it's a fucking Dalek without its armor on.
That's right. That's right. It does look kind of like it's just lazing about inside of the...
Yeah, with a brain that looks like it's like got cobwebs on it.
It actually
So-
might. He's been around for so long. Spiders are
I
probably in
like.
there.
Yeah, spider probably could get in there. There are spiders in here.
I've made friends with the spiders. It's laid eggs next to my face.
They're chewing on my tendrils.
Tendrils.
I like the way that this thing gets out and it kind of ignores all of them.
Yes.
Because again, it's like, I don't fucking care. And it starts like rolling
Just
away.
wants the doctor.
All of them start firing on
Oh, it goes straight. It actually goes straight to the camera.
It goes to the camera because it crushes the camera that the doctor's on.
Mm-hmm.
And then by breaking the screen, I guess, it starts sucking electricity and starts
I think it's
repairing itself,
connecting to the network through the feed from the camera.
which is not how that works.
I
But
would
fine.
agree. I would agree.
In 2005, we thought by 2012 we'd have technology like that, I guess.
I have no idea. It's taken down the internet though, like from the U.S., like the whole Western.
Well, it takes down... I couldn't tell if it took down the whole
Or is it
grid.
the energy? Is it like the whole
Yeah,
grid?
I don't
Oh
know.
my god.
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole grid goes down.
But the doctor says it downloaded the entire internet, and I
Yep,
was like,
it did that at the
"All
exact
right."
same time. You know, we got the grid of power down, and it also hit the internet, and it learned all the things. You know, like the Fifth
Yeah,
Element.
learned everything, like Ultron. Yeah.
Also Ultron.
Also everything ever. So they're at backup power now in the underground bunker. And the Dalek... Now, first of all, if you're a brain, I get it, you're a super genius that can do everything in a nanosecond. If you downloaded the entire internet, the amount of porn that Dalek has to scrub through to, like, get to something that's, like, necessary for it. It's more porn. It's more porn. It's more porn. Political discussion. Porn. Porn.
Political
Porn.
porn.
Sally's babies. Sally's babies. Cat. Cat. Porn.
Meme. Meme.
Meme of me. Meme of me.
2000s. It's a meme. It's just memes everywhere.
So the Daleks just starts blasting shit. They send security down as the Dalek starts taking these guys out. Because, like, I do like that the Dalek's like, please. I just start shooting the shit out of them.
Yeah, keep shooting me. Yeah, okay.
We get Matrix Cam of it stopping these bullets.
Yes.
And it
It
is
has, like, a
indestructible.
shield.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the hell this was. Because I was like, is it absorbing
Isn't it
the
a force
bullets? Like,
field?
what's happening? Yeah, so it magnetos these bullets.
Yeah, it's like that, yeah.
They're Van Stratton, they're like, okay, should we, like, retreat here? Like, the bullets are clearly not doing anything. And he's like, no, I don't even want them to get a scratch on it. They're dispensable. That thing is not. It's unique. They could have, in an interesting way, gone kind of the collector, like the Marvel collector on this, and made it so that this guy was, like, obsessed with collectibles.
Right.
That could have been an interesting way to take this too. They don't fully go there. They could have committed
It feels
to that.
like they could have, and it might have been better if they did.
He could have been a recurring character then.
Oh my gosh,
like,
yes.
Like the collector in Marvel. The Dalek zaps these guys. They turn into skeletons before they fall to the ground.
I think it's kind of like he's hitting them with, like, a radioactive blast.
Oh, that's
so
what
it
you think?
kind
Is
of
that
like so it's like you see the skeleton and then they drop type of thing, maybe.
Okay, I thought it was like electricity, but
It could be.
the skeletons
I don't know.
are like a
I'm just
bluish
thinking because
green.
you see the skeleton.
So
It's my guess.
I appreciate the effort that they go through to just make one of these seem menacing and indestructible.
Yeah.
Because I know that there are episodes out there where there's multiple of these, and I'm sure that they're not on Earth necessarily, but I like the idea that, like, humans aren't going to take this damn thing down.
Right.
It's just going to keep killing until it can't stop.
Considering there's the war between the Time Lords and Daleks, like, you know it has to be strong. It has to be.
And it just keeps moving down the hallway.
Yes.
So Rose and Adam and this other guard, this
One of the
lady
guards.
guard,
Yeah.
is there with them. And they go into a stairwell and they start going up the stairs. And you get, at first you think you have a RoboCop moment here because Ed 209 can't get up the stairs. It's just going to stare at it. And Adam, like a little shit that he is
Truly.
is
It's a
like,
great
you
way
can't
to
get up the
describe him.
stairs. You can't get up the stairs, can you little robot? And the soldier is like, look, Dalek, why don't you just go back in your cage? We can negotiate letting you, like, go. Like, it was wrong to imprison you. I get that.
But we can't
can
let more people
negotiate
die.
this. Yeah. So she demands it surrenders. And instead of saying surrender, because I thought it was going to be like
It
a
would
thing
never do
where...
that.
I was thinking it was going to be a thing where, like, oh, a Dalek never surrenders, or
Which is
something
true.
like that.
But he's like, I'm not even going to acknowledge you. Like, screw you.
Yeah. Elevate. And it...
Yep.
I thought this has to be, like, a classic thing, right? Where, like, were
hovering.
people waiting for the Dalek to elevate?
I don't know. I would like
Or
to
was
know
this,
that.
like, new-
Were they
something
able
new?
to technically hover and fly before? Or is this like a new thing? Is it like a little spaceship that it flies around in? Is it not just like a body? A lot of questions.
A lot of questions. It's kind of like when R2-D2 could suddenly fly.
Yes. Yeah.
R2-D2 could be related to the Daleks.
Oh, I have no doubt. The heads, the eye, you know.
They could have been like before they were genetically mutated or whatever. It's
You
like,
don't know.
no, just have these little R2-D2s. They were Daleks, or now they're Daleks. You know,
R2-D2 might have a little squid
You
guy
know.
inside of him. You don't know.
I was gonna put a little squid guy inside of R2-D2, but the Daleks actually beat me to it. Very few things have beat me to it, but that's one of them. Otherwise, I would have gotten my lawyer on the phone right away. And then I saw that Dalek floating, and I was like, oh, I don't know about that. Looks kind of like my R2-D2.
I feel like
I gotta do these bits so that you have something to cut. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You don't. So I have stuff to cut. Is that what you just said?
I'm joking.
I'm keeping it. I'm
Okay.
keeping all of your bits. You can't stop me.
I'm aware.
I'm also going to
sorry.
keep that for one of the trailers.
I'm sure you will. So what were you saying?
I don't know now.
Okay. I will move on.
All right, moving on.
Or let's move on. Okay. Anyway, Adam and Rose run, but Rose wants to bring the soldier with. She says no, somebody has to try to stop it. And the Dalek, of course, takes her down pretty easy, because what's this fucking broad gonna do?
Right, she's just shooting at it like everybody else is. Like, it's not doing anything.
Van Straten says, this thing has to have some sort of goal. We can reason with it. And the doctor says, one time, back when I was in Africa, we were searching for these... So he gives some men just want to watch the world burn speech to Van
He
Straten.
does. Because he even asks him, like, what's the nearest city? How many people are there? They're all dead. Like, that's what it wants to do. It wants to kill. That's what it's going to do.
It just kills. It is a pure eating machine. The only thing this thing does is eat and make little baby sharks.
I can't imagine little baby Dalek sharks. Little Daleks, like little tiny ones. So they have like the big ones, and then there's like the little baby ones, and they have little baby like the little robots,
cute,
and they're like flying around.
Yeah, it's a little cute little Nazi.
I like the Daleks, but you put it in that perspective, and it's just like, oh.
That's what they're going for.
Oh, it is. It's true. I mean, they're horrible. I don't like them. But I like them.
No, yeah, they're good characters.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure we have many a picture of you next to one from Comic-Con.
Oh, absolutely.
Was with the last one that we go to, was there one rolling around? I can't remember. I know we've been to one where people have made working ones too.
Yes, there's typically working ones. I think there was a guy that had his. I think he was inside of it and like actually driving it around.
That might be right, yeah, because there's usually like remote control ones at the very least. Because I know like R2-D2 is usually at them and BB-8.
Mm-hmm. But the Daleks are a big one too, and I do like that. There's always that one booth that has the TARDIS and the Dalek, and I like getting a picture with it.
Yeah. The doctor explains here that they think that anything different should die. It's racial cleansing. Like, he even says it. It's just pure racial cleansing. He says Van Straten let it loose. And I was like, no, Doctor. Rose let it loose. This is actually kind of on Rose. But
it is on Rose.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I think he's just blaming him because he's like, but you're like collecting all of these things and you're not even thinking about
understand them.
What they're doing or what it means.
Yeah. I thought it was because he was going to kill it.
Yes.
And then Van Straten wouldn't let him kill it.
Absolutely. If you let me just kill it, it would have been fine. And I think he also is not blaming Rose because he knows Rose was looking at it as a thing that needed help, and she didn't understand either.
I don't know if he fully. No, I guess he does. By the end, he does fully understand. Like, because the Dalek kind of is like, I touched your girl or whatever.
Pretty much, your girl touched me, and then I was able to fix myself.
Your girl touched me, Doctor.
Make it real weird.
So he gives them some advice to go for the eyepiece or something, and the sergeant from Avatar archetype guy dismisses it and says, "I don't need some fucking useless information from. When I want information about how to kill an alien from another alien, I'll get it. But you can stand down, you piece of shit."
Yeah, idiot. This guy deserves it.
Fucking idiot. You're being told by an alien who is an alien expert
where to
specifically on these things that it is telling you it's been to war with where to shoot, and you are ignoring it.
It's so dumb.
Rose and Adam run in while all these army or security guys, I think it's a private army. I think we're dealing with kind of a Blackwater situation here, where it's like these assassins or these like mercenary types all just work for this guy.
It does kind of feel that way. I could see that. Yeah.
Rose and Adam run into this room. And I was like, 2012, mercenary type guys. They didn't shoot her.
Surprising.
I don't know, Doctor Who. I've accepted
There would have been like a
all
shots fired,
lore.
and then they'd be like, "Hold your fire!" Like they're humans.
Yeah, there should have been like a shot that they dodge, and then it's a hold your fire. Yeah,
like a warning shot to the ground.
But there's no initial shot. The Dalek zooms in on Rose and like looks at her. I don't know what they were going for there with that, because Rose is even like, it looked at me, like it understood me, like it recognized me. And it's like, well, yeah, you were just in the other room with it 10 minutes ago.
Well,
but I think I know what they were trying to get at.
I think it's less of it looked at me, it knows who I am. It's I'm feeling something looking at you. Yeah.
They open fire on the Dalek, and the score comes up. It works here. I think the score works in this scene a bit. The Doctor says, because they're like, what's it doing? Because it's just sitting there. And again, it's a good way to show like the badassery of the Dalek, because it's just like, watch this, Doc. And it just is like, yeah, it wants us to witness this. The Dalek lets them waste their ammo for a while, and it elevates itself into the air. It shoots a fire alarm, causing the sprinklers to go off. And this is where I thought, oh, I know what this setting reminds me of. Every 1980s B movie I've ever seen.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, we're in this like 1980s B movie warehouse.
It really is. Oh
I don't know how did nobody have a railing death? Somebody should have tipped over the railing, and we should have gotten a good
Wilhelm scream.
A Wilhelm scream? A dummy falling off of the top?
Oh, it would have been such a good callback. I still remember one of the few Doctor Who episodes I have watched that were from like the originals. There was a falling off a cliff death of one of the bad guys, and it was a beautiful dummy that just like hit, and it just like spun in a circle with its arms out. It was amazing.
I don't care how fake it looks. A good dummy death is one of my most favorite things. We need to bring it back, because most of the deaths are now just CGI, or like in this scene. So what happens is it electrocutes the floor with the water, and then all of the people on the ground floor die. And the Sergeant Avatar guy is like, get out of here. It's not literally that guy, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
He's like, get out of here. And then he like, the Dalek kind of stops them from getting out of there for a second.
Yeah, he shoots them up there too.
And then he just shoots them because they're like, well, that's all wet too, you fucking idiots. So he kills them too.
And they just kind of like hang through the railing.
Yeah, they all just kind of like slump over. And it's like,
they just
ragdoll. Perfect time. Perfect time for a railing
One
death.
of them falling over it. They just didn't have the cushion at the bottom, or the person who can.
You need that stunt man that can do it.
That stunt man, or the one who's just willing to sign the waiver and say, "I'll fall."
But yeah, nowadays it's all CGI, or it's like this where they all slump over dead. I want a good dummy falling off a cliff. It's just a nice. It comforts me.
It's a very comforting moment.
Some of these extras, Rachel, you go back and watch this episode, they look pretty British. This is where I was like, some of these guys look pretty British. I don't know why. I don't even know what that means. But there's something about the facial structure that just looks more like... I think it's true.
I think you kind of have that like cultural look sometimes. Like you definitely look like where you're from. I think it happens.
Van Straten says we should abandon this place, because now he's like, okay, clearly nothing's going to work, so we just need to get the hell out of here. Or we need to seal the vault.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, we can't really get out of here. There's no power. We're kind of stuck here now. And so they're like, okay, well, why don't we seal the vault in? So they're saying, like, we'll just stop him from being able to get to another floor. And it'll just kind of be stuck
he'll
there.
be locked in, since it's like designed for a nuclear war. Why wouldn't it like stop a Dalek type of thing?
Yeah, but before they could kind of do anything, because I think Doctor's even like, I need to get Rose out of there though. Like I can't leave Rose down there with it. And before anything can happen, the Dalek turns on like a camera, like one of the like, you know, closed circuit cameras that are all over the place in there, and says that I want to speak to the doctor.
He explains what he did, like how he's like fixed himself.
Yeah, he's yeah, exactly. He says like, I fixed myself. I touched your girl. Yeah, this is where he's like, your girl went out with me last night, doctor.
And now I'm regenerated.
And she touched me. And it says Rachel's like, now I can never watch this damn episode.
Well, he's also saying I searched. I looked.
Yeah.
I tried
I looked
to
for Daleks.
He was like fact checking the doctor. I think is what it really is.
That's what he's saying. I fact checked. I tried to find the doctors or the Daleks, and doctor's like, and what'd you find? And he's like, they're all gone.
Like, where am I supposed to get my orders? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do anymore. And doctor's like, well, the doctor tries to reason with it for a second here.
Yeah, because it says I'm going to do primary directive, which is to destroy and to conquer.
But before he says that, the doctor's like, there's no point of doing that stuff. Oh, maybe he says it and then the doctor's
he's saying
like,
it because of that. Yeah.
It. Yeah. Okay, so he says like, I'm going to do the primary thing, which is just, I'm going to destroy. And the doctor's like, but why? Like, what's the point? There's no more Daleks.
Right.
What is your goal by destroying? So he's like trying to question the Daleks' logic, right?
And it's interesting because the Dalek is actually asking him, like, well, what should I do then? What am I supposed to do?
The Dalek is kind of like,
I know.
Yeah, like, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. It's very much, again, reminiscent of trying to debate with people today that have the Dalek mindset.
Yeah. And he goes, like Daleks have to survive, and this is when the doctor says you should kill yourself.
Yeah, kill yourself then. Like, why don't you just go kill yourself?
You don't have no reason to live.
Yeah. And the Dalek says, but I have to survive. The Daleks have to survive. Mm-hmm. And the doctor, like a rabid animal...
Oh my god.
...goes on this rant.
Yes.
And...
Like, angry, scary
literally,
rant.
Christopher Eccleston foams at the mouth.
Bubbles everywhere.
If you want orders, follow this one. Kill yourself.
The Daleks must survive!
The Daleks have failed! Why don't you finish the job and make the Daleks extinct? Rid the universe of your filth! Why don't you just die?
You would make a good Dalek.
I love the Dalek letting him do this, like, whole foaming at the mouth, like, why don't you just kill yourself? And the Dalek just goes, you would make a good Dalek. It's the most insulting thing the Dalek can say to him. Because he's like, you're acting like a Dalek. Like,
you're telling me to die.
Yeah, all you're thinking about is, like, you need to die. I'm going to kill you.
You're killing anything that you think needs to die. You'd make
it's
a
a very
Dalek.
Nice moment. Very nice moment.
Also, I feel like he also maybe have gotten a little bit of that cheekiness from Rose. You never know. A little cheeky.
All right. Yeah. I like that. I like that interpretation as well. Because Rose is a little cheeky one. She is.
And since he kind of got feelings, we'll figure that out a little bit. But like he does have like feelings now, which isn't like a Dalek thing. You're not supposed to. At
the same time that Van Straten is working on closing this vault, I guess you have to like press stuff simultaneously, like turning the key at the same time. So Van Straten needs to like put in like this sequence to like close the vault on the computer while they're going to have the doctor like press something to close the bulkheads, which will close all these doors, and then the Dalek will just be stuck. But he won't do it because he has to wait for Rose to get out. He wants to give Rose enough time.
Right. So they're running.
But he does press it. So he, in his mind, it's more important to stop the Dalek than to let Rose get out.
Yes.
Rose takes umbrage with this later on, but in the very last episode, she was willing to sacrifice herself for the world. So
I don't know if she was sacrificing herself. I think she knew that the doctor would figure it out and would keep them alive. I don't think she thought, oh, we're going to die.
She technically figures it out.
Because she said, I'm not going to die. She refuses.
Yeah. Okay.
But in this one, it's kind of like, You kind of sealed me in here, Doc. Thanks.
Yeah. Now, I also get that Rose and Adam have been running throughout this whole facility, so they're probably pretty tired, but I don't know why they directed the shot like this, but there's like a shot, like a straight on shot of Rose running towards this door.
Yes.
And she's clearly not sprinting. She's like kind of like like doing like a little jog.
Yeah.
It took me out of the moment for a second because I was like, "Run, goddammit! Run towards the door!"
But I think you're right. I think it's because like I think the whole thought is, one, she's not fast enough, but also she's tired. She's been running up and down stairs, running through hallways, trying to get away from the Dalek. Yeah. Adrenaline is pumping like crazy. She's exhausted.
Yeah. The door is clearly going to close, and Adam...
Douchebag Adam gets through.
This son of a bitch rolls onto the door.
Yep.
Leaves her there. You really want to take this guy.
I know, right? God.
So, the Dalek rolls toward her, and she says goodbye to the doctor and says it wasn't your fault, and she wouldn't have missed it for the world. The Dalek says exterminate, and we hear it fire, but we don't see it.
Yes.
And the doctor is upset, of course. He says he could have killed the Dalek, but Van Staten is like, no, it was part of my collection. The doctor is like, but you killed them all. You just want to stick... You allowed all those people to die for your fucking collection. And he's like, no, I want to be up in the stars and stuff. Because the doctor is like, mankind had was going to get to be in the stars and was going to get to do all this stuff, but you've fucked that over too.
Right.
And he's like, no, that's what I want to do. And he's like, no, you've brought it all underground.
You're underground.
You've done the exact opposite.
Yes, exactly. You're going the other way. You're burrowing like a freaking mole instead of actually flying up into the stars. That's ridiculous.
I think he even says you're as far from the stars as you can get, and you took her down with you.
Yes. She
was 19. They always are talking about her age in this.
Well, because she's young. She's not getting to experience everything in life, right?
And I don't think that Billie Piper always looks 19. I think she was
like
around
low
that.
20s.
She was 23 or something. Yeah. So I think that sometimes they feel they have to emphasize she's young.
Even in the 20s though, you're still not. You haven't experienced a lot. You haven't gone out and gotten to see and experience an adventure. And he's just like, she hasn't gotten to live.
We cut back to Rose, and the Dalek is
she's
just
alive.
standing there. Yeah, Rose is alive. The Dalek is just standing there staring at her. And she says, why are you doing this?
Kill me. Isn't that what you're supposed to be doing?
And it even says, yeah, I'm supposed to be doing it. That's what I want to do. I don't know why I can't. And it says it feels her fear.
Yes.
And a Dalek shouldn't fear. It shouldn't feel fear.
Yes.
It shouldn't feel something's fear, and it can't fire at her. So it's trying to shoot at her, but it is missing. I was wondering this, Rachel. Is it supposed to just be connected to her so that it can't kill her?
Oh. So it's you think it's specifically Rose?
Specifically Rose, yeah.
I think... that, yes, I would say yes, that is a good point, but I think it's also kind of learning empathy from that connection, maybe.
Okay.
Potentially. It might see the soldiers as just soldiers, but when it actually sees a person in their face and and feels the fear, it's But I think you might be right. It might be a very specific, this is Rose and the Dalek sort of thing.
Which would have been an interesting thing to keep this Dalek around and have it be connected to Rose. Not a friend. Not a friend. I'm saying it feels a connection to Rose for something like that. Every once in a while it pops up and or it finds other Daleks and but it stops them from killing Rose or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It says it's contaminated because of what it did with the DNA. The doctor yells at Adam and is like, you fucking left her, you piece of shit. And I wish he would have slapped him. I wish he would have slapped this little shit.
I think he did kind of deserve a slap.
The Dalek says, open the bulkhead or it will kill Rose Tyler. Oh, the Dalek says to the doctor, another line that I kind of like from the Dalek here, says, why have emotions if you won't save the woman you love? So, he's trying to, put together, maybe the wrong thing about them, but like he's like, this must be your concubine. Well, like, yes, but like, love could also be platonic. But I guess
course.
you're supposed to think like, yeah,
Well, yeah. It's like when you know, you know.
yeah. Great. Doctor says.
Kevin's hell-bent on this.
The doctor says, I killed her once. I can't kill her again, and opens it up for the Dalek. And the Dalek uses Rose as a hostage to kind of roll up to the top level.
That's great.
I just kept thinking Rose would have been like, "Oh, could you go any faster? Like, we have to roll through this thing for like an hour?
We know you're faster than this.
Do you want to get in the lift? Would that help? The lifts are broken.
I turned them off. I love hate.
So, Doctor's like, okay, I have to find something that can kill it, but there's nothing here. And Adam's like, well, there's nothing cataloged that can
It's like
kill
the
it.
ones that aren't cataloged are here.
Yeah, so they go to his workshop, and they're looking through all this stuff, and there's a bunch of broken shit. They're going through Doom guns,
Pretty
essentially.
much. Yes.
Yeah, and they find a Doom-esque gun to use. It's not the BFG, but it's probably the plasma gun. I'm sure that's kind of what it was.
It is a big one. Yeah.
We learn that the memories of the people that he fires are wiped. It's just kind of like a little line that's thrown away, but it comes back in a few minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, Adam says that. It comes back in a minute or two.
Oh,
so,
okay.
like, they set that up with this little line.
that's true. You're right. Okay,
Yeah.
go on.
The Dalek is going up a lift, so they do go up the lift to Van Stratton's office, and he's gonna kill Van Stratton. I do like the Dalek's line where he's like, "Hear me now," because Van Stratton's like, "All I wanted you to do was talk," and he's like, "Okay, well, listen to me now, asshole.
Yeah.
Exterminate."
I wanted you better. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I swear. I just wanted you to talk.
Then hear me talk now. Exterminate! 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 Don't do it!
Rose is like, "Don't kill him. You don't have to kill him. There's no reason to kill him. That won't do you any good."
But he goes, why? My whole purpose is to kill. What am I otherwise?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a
like,
very existential, like...
Yeah, it's having an existential crisis.
Yes.
It flips its head back and forth between Rose and Van Stratton, so it's
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
and then it goes, I guess all I want is freedom then.
Yep.
So she's like, okay, fine, we'll let you out. So it rolls itself to the top level, shoots a hole in the ceiling in the sunlight, and Rose is like, hey, you made it. So I like picturing her like elbowing it, like, hey, look at this, you made it to the top. How about that?
And then but she says like, oh, like the sun, like finally, because they've been sitting in this bunker for like hours, and she's just like,
Right.
Thank
And she
God,
thought she was gonna die.
air and
so
sun.
she's like, oh, I get to see the sun, yeah.
And he
and the
goes, well, what
Dalek-
does it feel like?
Yeah, Dalek's like, well, what's sunlight feel like? And it unveils itself from the
Yes.
armor thing, and we see a Dalek.
And Kevin was like, oh.
Yeah, like, oh, I thought it was... Well, when he says it earlier, like, there's a thing inside. Now it's
Yeah,
like,
but
oh,
like you
okay.
don't know what it is until it
No,
opens.
It's a squid with a brain and an eye. And it pulsates quite a bit, and it has entrails, and is slimy.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's also
So
like hooked in. I have a feeling there's like a lot of like things hooked into it.
Yeah, probably. Like, this is definitely not what you would think of as like the superior beings of the universe.
I think it's more so in the brain part versus like what it looks like.
Like, if it didn't have all of this contraption around it, you would just be able to stomp on it.
Yeah,
That would be
pretty
the end.
much.
Which I think is supposed to be the irony of it, too. Like,
Right.
it's just this piece of shit looking starfish with tentacles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dalek reaches one of its entrails up to, like, toward the sun to kind of feel. And
Touch
the
the
doctor...
rays.
The doctor comes out of nowhere and tells Rose to get out of the way. Get out of the fucking way, Rose! He says that the thing's killed hundreds, and Rose is like, well, it's not pointing the gun at me right now. And Rose is like, look at you. Or look at it, doctor. Like, it's just this pathetic piece of shit. And she's like, it's changing. And she's like, look at you, doctor, though. Like, you've gone insane.
Like what are you
changing into?
changing? Right.
And Doctor seems to get it now. And he has all this guilt about the Time War. I wish he would have cried a little bit. Little cry, little tears.
Well, he started to. I think he started to choke up a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe Christopher Eccleston's just not very good at like crying.
Yeah, or his
He shows a
version
lot of
the
anger emotions. It's like, it's
Yeah.
a very boisterous emotion.
Well, and maybe that's his idea. Like, the Doctor shouldn't do that. The Doctor should be more. The Doctor shouldn't cry or something. You know,
Which
like the
I
Doctor.
disagree.
The Doctor, though, he says, like, you know, they're all dead. It's my fault, and that kind of thing. And the Dalek asks the Doctor, well, why do we survive? So we can learn to pick ourselves back up. The Doctor says,
I don't know.
I don't know, but you're not. And the Doc's like, I guess I'm the last one. And he's like, you're not even that. You absorbed her DNA. You're mutating
You're
into
different.
something. And he tells the Doctor, he tells the Dalek, I'm sorry, which I thought was weird. But I guess, like, he realizes, like, this Dalek just wants
This
to
Dalek's
die.
a little bit different because it's feeling, it's changing, and now it's not even the thing that it was supposed to be. It's
Right.
It's
It has no
broken.
idea what it's supposed to do, yeah. Rose is like, isn't that a good thing that it doesn't want to, like, kill everything and it's not really a Dalek anymore? And the Doctor's like, not for a Dalek. A Dalek is going to think that's the worst thing for it.
Yeah, I changed. Oh my god, I'm wrong.
I'm not superior anymore. Yeah, now
Right.
I'm something I hate.
Yes.
And it tells Rose, like, you have to give me the order, Rose. I don't know why Rose has to give
I
it
think
the
because
order.
of the connection, and he needs
Okay.
an order from something, and he like listens to.
I cannot
Rose because of the connection.
self-terminate.
Right. I think he needs the order to do so.
Yes. It can feel so many ideas, so much darkness, and tells Rose to give it the order to die.
And she doesn't want to.
He says, like, are you afraid, Rose Tyler? Which is comes back from
Right.
earlier in the episode, too. And she says, yeah. And it goes, yeah, so am I. Do you
And
get
that's
it?
so
Like, there's nothing
sad.
there. Yeah, it is interesting that they
It
are
actually
able
makes you
to
feel
get you
sad.
emotion for this evil, hateful thing.
It's great.
But it is like you said, it's changing. And again, that is, like, to the point. Like, if you found a person that is based off of this, can you have it change? Can it feel empathy towards something that it hates? And then will it change? Will it stop being a Dalek?
Right.
It does one last exterminate, and it breaks itself apart in a glorious CGI bubble.
Yes. It like brings out the
So now-
it, like takes all the balls out and it like explodes itself.
Yeah. It takes all the
very
balls out.
interesting.
It, like, implodes itself.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the idea.
Goddard has the remaining soldiers take Van Straten
Yes.
away and say, wipe his memory. Somewhere starting with an S. To leave him on the side of the road without a name and anything, and, like, leave him there somewhere starting with an S.
Yes.
So I guess they're just gonna take over this guy's corporation, which, granted, he got 200 people killed or whatever, but still, somebody's gonna be like, where is this guy?
Yeah,
and I guess
there's gonna be lots of questions.
And
I would
based
think.
on the Dalek Doctor Who wiki page, and then going to Henry Van Straten, apparently you can learn all about that in some of these extended universe stories about what happened to Henry Van Straten. Anyway,
It's funny.
they get back to the Dalek.
They get back.
They get
to
back
the
to the TARDIS. Thank you. And Rose says, is that the end of the Time War? And Doctor's like, I guess so. I win. How about that? Time Lord would know if there were any other Time Lords, because Rose is like, well, maybe there's something else out there. And he's like, no, I'd feel it. Just like he would figure out if there was a Dalek. Like, I would know if there was a Time Lord. I'm assuming that at some point during this journey, we are going to find out that he has a cousin that will be somewhere, just like Kal-El had a Supergirl. Maybe there's something like that, but we'll see.
We will find out.
Next time on
Not next time,
Doctor
but
Who.
at some point.
Here comes Adam for some reason.
Stupid Adam.
And he tells them that Goddard is going to fill the whole thing with cement. It'll be like it's never even there, so we got to get out of here. And Rose wants to bring him with. And I don't know why, other than she thinks he's cute.
Well, I think because he said he wants to go see the stars, and she feels for that. Like
Yeah, that's what he
I want to do that
says.
too.
And
And-
Doctor is like, but why? Really, Rose? Why? Like, did you look at this guy? He's bland as fuck.
Well, he says
then
he's
he's like-
pretty.
He says a bit pretty,
And he said
she's
he
like,
left
haven't
you down there,
noticed.
and you did too. And there's all this back and forth, and it's
Yeah,
like,
oh, is he pretty? I haven't noticed. I didn't notice. I was just fawning over him. So
and then they get in the box.
They get in the box, and they let Adam come. You didn't let Charles Dickens come with, but you let fucking Adam?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I just put, they let Adam join. I'm not sure about this.
And you shouldn't be.
Okay.
That's
Great.
Yeah.
So Rachel,
Doesn't last long.
off the record, what is the consensus of Adam? Do people not like this character, or that he joined them for an adventure?
Honestly, I don't know. My group that I watched this with, that like the people I talked to, they don't like him.
Okay.
I don't like him.
Yeah.
I think the
I didn't like
consensus
that.
is
I
that
didn't
he's
like him
kind of
from the
just like a
second I
meh.
saw him.
He's
Yeah.
like fine in this, but
Okay. All right, we'll learn. Because that is the end of Dalek. So, Rachel, my thoughts about this one. I did think that this was a step up from the previous ones. You're able to get more knowledge of a backstory for the Doctor. There's an arch enemy involved. There's stakes that feel grounded. It's a grounded episode. Like, yes, they're saying, like,
Yes.
the world's at stake, but you're stuck in this place. So it feels more grounded. And I like the dynamics between the Doctor and the Dalek. And I like the dynamic between the Dalek and Rose as well.
Yes.
So I thought all of that worked. There's some stuff that could have been done better, as we've
Of course.
illustrated.
sure.
But I do definitely think that this one is a step up from the previous episodes that we've covered.
I agree. I agree with that. I do think this one was a lot stronger than the previous episodes. I enjoy the Dalek and that character with the Doctor as well. So I thought that it does like bring a lot more to the whole universe of of Doctor Who. With,
Yeah, there's more
having the
character
Dalek
and
come
stuff.
back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. So that was Dalek. After the break, we will come back with another episode of Doctor Who Series 1 with The Long Game, right after this.
Take the challenge to create the ultimate sonic screwdriver. This amazing set includes 3 sonic screwdrivers. Mix and match the sections with over 80 combinations, including multiple lights and sound effects. Have hours of fun with the Doctor Who personalized your sonic screwdriver set.
From character.
And we are back with another episode of Doctor Who Series 1. This is the 7th episode of Doctor Who. Rachel, what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about The Long Game.
Yes, The Long Game. I'm still trying to figure out why its title is The Long Game. I still don't know.
I think it's called The Long Game because the alien who took over the satellite is playing
Spoiler
the
alert.
long game.
I guess so?
You know, it's like a long con.
Yeah, I
So he's conning the humans.
suppose he is conning the human. Yes, I suppose he is conning the humans. Okay, so Rachel, what happens in The Long Game?
Okay.
Your synopsis.
So the Doctor, now accompanied by Rose as well as Adam.
The worst character. He might be the most bland, unremarkable characters. I know. I mentioned it before the break, and for those at home, we literally took a break after Dalek and then came
Yes.
back,
Yes.
and after watching the 7th one,
Yes.
and I was right. I was right to assume that this guy sucks.
Yes.
He sucks.
Right.
Sorry, continue.
So we travel into the future and land on a satellite that has like 500 floors on it, so it's
like a
way bigger
space
than you think it
station.
is. Yeah, it's like more of a
Yeah.
space station, but they call it Satellite 5. And it's really weird, and the Doctor thinks that a lot of the technology is behind, and he's going, something is up with this satellite. And so they kind of have to investigate, while Adam kind of goes off and does his own thing, and they find out there's an alien involved.
Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit more as we talk about the plot, or maybe even in the end discussion of the show. But I did find tropes forming. Okay. And I don't know if those tropes are Doctor Who tropes or if they are Russell Davies tropes.
They might be one and the same.
His writing. Okay. I can reserve that until we get to the end about some of the things that I was thinking after watching it.
Sure.
Yes, this is The Long Game. It is written by Russell Davies, directed by Brian Grant. It is the 162nd story in the Doctor Who universe. The other part of this, apparently, is that Russell Davies, this was like an outline or a script or something that he had submitted back in the day to try to bring Doctor Who back and got rejected. So this is like one of his stories that he either wanted to tell or was like on his pile of like potential Doctor Who stories. So that's where this one comes into play. And I don't know if that means like he had this idea of a companion getting kicked out or like what?
It does kind of feel like not everybody can be a companion. Like, I think it's the Doctor kind of picking and choosing, and like he has to make sure he weeds out the bad ones and all of that kind of stuff, maybe.
Well, because I mentioned this to you offline, Rachel, because I was like, why did he let him in the fucking first place? Because why is he there? Why is he there, Doctor? Why is he there?
He didn't want him. He didn't want him.
Okay, he had no problem telling whatever Rose's boyfriend's name is, and I can't remember. Mickey, yes. Apologies to Mickey. Mickey, no, you're not coming. Even before he invited him. Even before he invited him. Because he was all like, well, your boyfriend can't come when he first invited Rose.
Correct.
So why does this schmuck get to come along?
I don't know. I guess because Rose just was like, he doesn't have anywhere to go, which was a lie because he had a family and a house. But it's like...
Doctor, if you're listening to this podcast, and I know you are, why did you let Adam come along? That's all I'm asking. Folks at home, let me know. Let me know. What am I missing? Anyway, let's get right into it. This is The Long Game. It starts with the TARDIS landing in a room. There's monitors on the walls. The production design I like throughout the episode. It has this Demolition Man-esque look to it, by which I think you even mentioned it. It's like a dystopian future sci-fi corporate thing.
Right.
Like that, it looks like that.
It looks rusty and dirty, but also sci-fi.
But enough
and
futuristic.
also futuristic, you know.
Yeah.
So it is interesting. It's a little wacky. It's a little weird, but
there's crazy crap all over the walls. It looks like Buffalo Wild Wings, you know.
I mean, at one point it does look like you're going down the road and everybody just opened up all their stalls to eat food and stuff. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things happening.
Set. That was like a Brechtian set. Brechtian is like a play that has no actual sets. It's all just black background and the people envision it. So that's what that looked like, because it was like there's just stuff popping out of there, and it was like, oh, they didn't have any money to like actually make like a fake cafe.
Well, I kind of pictured it more as like, here's a bunch of food trucks and they all just opened their doors at the same time, like.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I could see that.
But they're all like, instead of actual trucks, that's just, here's the food stand, and they opened up the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We learn that it is the year 200,000.
Yes.
And it is the fourth great and bountiful human empire. 96 billion people live on the planet Earth across 1 million planets, and Earth, or like humans are the ones like, I don't want to say in charge of it all, but like sort of like they're the ones that are, they're in charge of this empire. So it's like supposed to be.
I think this empire is like mostly human. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's across a bunch of planets and aliens and different species and races and all this sort of stuff. So he thinks he's taking them to see the Renaissance time for humans. Like this is supposed to be like the pinnacle of humanity. Rose gets out. And Doctor's telling her, like, yeah, you're on a satellite, it's the year 200,000, all this stuff. They let Adam come out of the TARDIS, and Rose tries to act like like she does this all the time, even though she's still like a
Yes.
beginner at it.
Right.
But, like, judging by the architecture, it looks like the year 200,000, and here the engine were like on a thing or whatever. So
Right.
I guess
she's
trying
like
to
showing
show
off. I think it
Okay,
is.
yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
is. I think
doc-
she wants him to be impressed with her.
Yeah, and the doctor lets her do it. The doctor kind of gives her like a bit of a look, but then like
Yeah, he's like
"All right,
laughing.
fine, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's amused by it.
of course. She also says it's really hot on the space station.
It's really hot. Yes, she hits that point home a few times in the episode that it's hot on
Yes.
the space station. And she suggests a gate, which the doctor asked her to, like, told her, like, you might want to look in the gate. Like, that's probably the place to go. So she's like, maybe we should try this gate. Like, still trying to, like, play it up like she's not the Millhouse of her and the doctor.
Yeah,
That's not fair.
because I don't
Adam
think
is
she.
the Millhouse.
Because I mean, honestly, she would be acting like Adam, where it's like, "Where are we? This is amazing!" Like instead,
Yeah.
she's just
But
like,
because
"Oh,
he told her first.
I'm an
yeah.
old hat at this. Like
Yeah.
this is normal
I
for
do
me
this all the time. Yeah.
for the past few months." Like,
Not even, really.
yeah, true.
So we learn that it's an observation deck, again, and she lets the doctor describe what's happening here, and that's where he describes where they're at. After hearing the explanation of what time they've come to, Adam passes out. And then a weird exchange.
Yes, yes, agreed.
Because
He's your boyfriend.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. What a weird. Why? What?
What? Was
Like,
he
no,
ever
he's
your
not.
boyfriend? And he's
Right.
not. He never was, and he still isn't. So what are you talking about, Rose?
Yeah, that's a weird way to say it. Like instead of no, he's not. She says not anymore.
Not
Like
anymore.
I mean, I guess if she wanted him to be the boyfriend and she wanted to impress him, and now
Because he
he
passed out.
fainted because he was
Yeah.
like this was too much for him. She's like, ugh, no, not anymore.
You're like,
Like I don't
"Ugh,
want
yeah,
him.
no, I'm not
I'm
dealing
back
with
to
that,
wanting you,
yeah."
doctor. Like
Yeah. I want this.
I'll continue to pine over this man,
Yeah,
alien
yeah.
thing.
I don't need this fuck boy. I want this old grandpa Time Lord.
Truly, yes.
And then credits. So
Of
we get the
course.
credits. The doctor tells him it is the best time of the human race. There's fine food, good manners. But then, as he's saying this, it appears to be... Oh, this is what I wrote, Rachel. I didn't say
Okay.
Brechtian set. I said it appears to be a very cheap Blade Runner-like set.
Yes, that I
So-
would agree with.
Same
yeah.
type of vibe. Demolition
same
Man,
vibe,
Blade
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Runner, same idea. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if they would have just shot a little lower and on like different angles, you could get that same comic book like light and everything in these scenes because
Yeah.
of the way it was shot.
Yeah, so it is
Very dramatic.
Like Rachel said, there's like food stands and that kind of thing going on. So like they're in like the
Peacekeepers are opening the doors, you know.
Peacekeepers are. I love that. I love that. Most of the world would say stormtroopers, but here on Shelf Life, Rachel has the nomenclature and pop culture background to say peacekeepers. Same
Because
idea.
they're not clones. They're just humans in suits yelling at other people.
You know what? Fair enough.
See, I know something about Star Wars. I learned something.
So anyway, people are getting Kronk burgers, and the doctor seems weirded out by the ordering of the Kronk burgers. And Adam is like, well, wait a minute. You said, like, there's humans and there's a bunch of other species, and they all live within this galactic empire thing. So where
Right.
are all the other aliens? And the doctor's like, that's a good question. And then he thinks about it for another second. This was very, like, natural to me. It felt very human-esque, because I do feel like a lot of times in TV or movies you'll get somebody that'll be like, yes, that's a good question, and like that would be the end of it. But in real life, if you're not expecting somebody to think of something, and they think of something, and then you think about you like think about it for a second. You're like, oh yeah, you're right. That is
Like, wait a
like
minute,
thing.
yeah.
So I did like because he says that's a good question, and he goes, actually, that is a good question. Like he's just
he's
saying
like, now
it
I
because
must
that's like
question this.
it's the thing to say is to be like, good question, and then he actually has to think about it for a second. So I liked that little
Yes.
human tick, like that, because it happens in real life.
Right.
So the doctor actually is like, okay, well, you know what? In the meantime, I think he's trying to ditch Rose and Adam to try to figure out what's going on.
Right. Yes. I feel
So
like he does this. Well, I guess we haven't seen this a lot, but I feel like he does do this where he tries to, like,
Ditch the
well, let me go
companion.
check it out first. If it's like dangerous or like, if I
Yeah.
need somebody, I can come get him. But like,
I
I'll
don't
go
need
check it
your-
out first.
I don't need to kill you while we're here. my British accent's off tonight. Anyway,
Yeah, it was a little weird. It was a little weird.
Yeah.
A little mushy.
So I'm trying to get that northern accent that he's got, and it's hard because I can do generic, but getting that specific Christopher Eccleston thing down, it's harder. Anyway,
Yeah, you sound older when you do that.
he tells them, "Oh, you just need to get something to eat." So he asks the guy how much a Kronk burger is, and he's like, "Okay, I guess we're gonna need money." So
Right. Because
he
it's like
goes-
credits or something. Of course, because
Yeah.
it's like a weird futuristic.
20 credits, and you can't make it come with the fry or the gravy.
They don't call it fries; they call it like potatoes or something. It's like some British fucked up word for French fries.
Wow. Chips.
It wasn't chips. It was like fajitas or something like that.
Well,
it was like
okay, but we've learned that their food is weird, okay?
yeah, we know that. Yeah, it's very weird.
No, not
So
the
they get-
British people's food, not like the English food. I'm
Oh,
talking
this isn't real food. They don't have just beef slushies.
That's
Folks
what
at
I'm
home,
talking
if you're British
about,
and you
Kevin.
have a beef slushie.
Beef slushy.
Yes, I know. I am aware. I'm just making fun.
Darn it.
So anyway, they go out and he uses the sonic screwdriver to get some credits.
yeah, no, like on a
and-
little credit card that looks more like
No,
a
it looked like a
vibraphone
staple set.
key. Oh, okay, that's fine. That works too. That
All right,
sounds more like
vibraphone
something people would
key, staple
understand.
set. Yeah.
Something like metal and rectangular.
Yeah. And the doctor gives Adam some advice, kind of saying, like, you're time traveling. You have to kind of go look around and see the culture and be a tourist, kind of. So
Yeah,
he
have
is
fun,
definitely
like,
trying
learn
to.
stuff.
Yeah. And he tells Rose, you go on your first date. And Rose's response to this
Being
is,
Rose.
you're gonna get a smack, with her doing her, like, mouth acting. A lot of mouth acting on that line. Yep, you got it, Rachel. Rachel's moving her mouth as far as she can. As they go do that, he decides to try to figure out what's going on because he thinks that something is off. And he stops a couple of women and asks where he is. And this is where we find out that we're on Satellite 5. And the women are like, how do you not know where you are? How do you, like, you're, like, asking what year it is and stuff. Like, what do you
Like,
nuts?
were you partying this much?
Yeah.
And how did you
Are
get
you a
here?
nutter?
And
Are you some kind of nutter?
I do like that
Yeah.
he just goes, look, I'm stupid, tell me.
Yeah. I think by doing that, that's where they could be like, okay, this is like some sort of test now. Like,
Yes.
you must be with management or something.
Right.
And he uses the blank card to be like, yep, you're right, I am with management.
Oh, yeah, look.
Which he can get away with that in some cases, but like today's day and age, like you wouldn't be like, yes, I am with Microsoft, and pull up your like badge. Like, what are you like? He's
True.
lucky that worked because
Right.
it's like you have a badge. Like, it would be kind of the answer in some cases.
Well, I guess because if he's like pretending to be like, oh yeah, I'm like an undercover, I'm supposed to just be here and ask you questions. Here's like how I can prove that I'm from management.
yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
but-
So he's playing undercover boss with these women, and he
Right.
pretends to give up the ghost, saying like, "Do you think that he would?" That undercover boss show. No, I'm not gonna get into it. I was gonna
For a
do a
later
whole
date.
bit.
That'll be
of
a top
Dr.
shelf or whatever.
The whole bit of the doctor getting into undercover boss makeup and being like, today I'm going to see what
weird
Rose
alien planet.
really thinks about me.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, because he would be the boss technically. Oh, that's weird.
So he asked them to show what they do, because they're like, oh, you must be with management. We're in line for promotion. We can finally get to floor 500. And he's like, well, what is floor 500? And they're like, the walls are made of gold. And
you should know if you're management, right?
yeah, they think he's there to give them like some sort of evaluation or something.
Right.
And what we find out is they are distributing news across the Empire.
Which is, I think, why
And-
they call it a satellite, because it's where news is going through, like
That's-
the information, like a highway.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. We learn different things that are happening at the current time. The face of Boa is pregnant.
Yes, yeah. The face of Bo is again. See, face of Bo. Hello.
He's back. The Kree Empire having another baby. It's nice.
He does look.
And they are journalists, and they tell the news. So he just so happened to stumble into these journalists, which was, I was going to say fortunate, but I guess if you're on this floor and that's what's happening on this floor, a lot of
That's
them
who
are
you're
gonna
gonna
be
jump
journalists,
into.
so,
Yeah.
yeah. Meanwhile, Simon Pegg joins the party.
That's right. He's very
Totally
pasty.
makes sense. You're going to get every British actor, I feel like, that's ever existed on this show at some point, one way or another.
Yeah, probably. Yep.
Apparently, Simon Pegg was a big fan of Doctor Who, so he was happy to jump on board. And then when he read the script and realized that he was going to be a villain, he was even happier. So he was happy to be part of it. Simon Pegg is in a cold room, and he definitely looks like a character out of Demolition Man or some other 90s dystopian
Yes.
movie. Like,
Right.
like really a lot. Like he's got like the bleached hair.
Yes. He's like a
and
bleached white hair. He's so like he's got white makeup on to make him even pastier.
I think it's 'cause
that's
he never
because
gets
he's
to
cold.
leave. Oh, and he's cold. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. All of the above. There are no windows.
And he asks a frozen person
Yes.
that seems to be at a monitor to do a security scan because he feels like something is off. So it's leading you to believe that he's sensing that like the doctor is throwing something off. Adam, in the meantime, tries to cope with the fact that everything's gone. Very similar to Rose when they went to the end of the world. He's kind of saying the same thing where he's like, everything's gone. Like, how can we be here? It's like a totally, the future and everything.
Right. It's weird. It's hard to get your mind around.
This is where she offers him the beef smoothie.
Yes.
Which, hold on, you say that, but let's say it doesn't really have beef in it. But let's say it's like the flavor of a good hamburger. You drinking that smoothie?
I don't want it cold. So here's the thing. If
Okay.
I'm going to be drinking something, it's going to be like a soup then if it's going to be like a beef. Because otherwise, here's my cold beef burger slushie. I feel like I wouldn't want it to be
Yeah.
a slushie. I feel like I'd want
You're
it to be
right.
like a soup.
Well, a soup flavored, or you're saying like it's
No,
like
I want it to be
it's
like a hot drink, like-
soup consistency,
and you can
yeah,
drink it.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Then at that
I
point,
guess
it's just
I
beef
guess you
broth,
win.
but still.
I guess you win that argument, Rachel, because I cannot think of a beef that could be served cold that would fit in a slushy
It
form.
just
Because I was even going to
sounds-
say like a ground beef taco or
Yeah,
like
or like
a
beef
brisket.
and noodles, like a slumgullion.
Yeah. There's really nothing
It
there.
just... I
I don't know if
can't...
is slumgullion a is that a common phrase or is that a grandma phrase?
That's a real thing.
Is it really? I always thought grandma just made it up.
So did I, and then I looked it up. So if you look up, you can see Slumgullion recipe. And then there it is, Slumgullion. Why is it called Slumgullion? The world is believed
'Cause
to
it's
derive
cheap
from
from the
slum,
slums.
an old world for slime, and gullion, an English dialect term for mud or cesspool.
Yeah,
That's
because it's like you just throw all the shit
disgusting.
in. Yeah, it's what the poors eat. So
But
Rose,
yes, so that's real. So I can say it like that. People will understand the real
I'm just
people will
making
understand what
sure.
Slumgullion is.
Anyway, we aren't drinking our beef cold. Got it.
No, that drinking beef cold just sounds so nasty.
Made me think that it tastes like when you cook beef, but you don't put any flavoring in it.
Yes.
That taste.
Yes.
Which is gross.
Which
Like,
is
it
also
needs some
making me think
flavoring.
instead of like the ice, it's just going to taste like you're sucking up really grounded beef, which
Yeah.
also just sounds disgusting.
Yeah, yeah. But it might be all they have in this time period because it's just like
also
got
true.
the nutrients or something.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. But they're all
think that they
eating,
were
like out of Chinese like food.
That's
and...
what I was wondering. Are they trying to make it look almost like Idiocracy, where like all they eat is like junk food? Because
maybe
of what we learned more about like this
'Cause
timeline,
it's so stagnant.
and they're all just kind of like they all just kind of go with the flow. They do what they're told, so they're just like eating junk food and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Probably corporatized junk food.
Oh yeah. You know what? I could see that.
So Rose is like, understands that he might feel like homesick or whatever. So she tries to do what the doctor did for her in the End of the World episode by giving him her phone,
Yes.
which the doctor rigged up so that you can use it through time and space.
Yes.
I was thinking like, well, he's from a different time though. But it's interesting because it still works.
Is he?
Yeah, he's from 2012 because they picked him up in 2012.
Oh yeah, so he's still like a few years ahead of him.
He's from the future, yeah.
Okay.
But it worked.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things where it's like if you it's magic, Kevin. So when you like
I understand.
it's science, but
It's
then
not
it's also magic
It's not
of
inconsistent magic. It's not.
It's
not.
it's
I was
it's just one of those
curious if it
things
was
where
gonna
it's
work.
yeah, I think it's the caller has to know who and what time they're calling, and then it'll call that specific. I feel like it's how
okay.
like the TARDIS can pick up on you being in them, and so it translates for you and everything too. I feel like it's one of those things where just like it senses it from you what you need it to be for.
Yes, it works because it has to.
Yes.
but you can kind of you can figure it out. He leaves a message to his parents. So we find out Adam has this like family and a cute
Little
dog hears
dog.
the message. He's trying to find him, so the dog like recognizes his voice and stuff.
Yeah.
And he tells his parents that he's traveling with some people and he's gonna, he'll get back later, but he's doing some stuff. He's traveling. He met some people and he's gonna travel with them. Meanwhile, a horn goes off and the doctor tells them to come by because they're gonna go see what the journalists do. Adam keeps the phone. And you can tell here
Yeah, he's already
that he's
being scummy.
he's coming up with some plot. I could tell this kid was a little shit heel, and he's clearly he was working for a guy that claimed to own the internet in the
Correct.
last episode.
Correct.
He's not necessarily on the up and up.
And I mean, he already, right. He worked for a scumbag, right? And he was fine with it, to an extent. And he was also hiding the fact that he was smuggling some of that technology away for himself just in case he needed to use it. So he was already
That's
doing
right.
other scummy
Yeah,
things.
I forgot he was doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Simon Pegg thinks something is wrong despite the security passing. So like they don't see anything wrong with the security passing. He does a couple of times in this. He does like a double check, triple check,
Right.
and he like really emphasizes the check. I think is supposed to
but
be
that's
like
him.
a Simon Pegg thing. Yeah. The ladies that have brought him into this room, Kathika is like the manager or something.
I think
she's
so. I
wearing
think
like more
she's
of a
more-
suit.
Right.
Yeah.
She's a bit higher up.
And Suki is the other one. She's just like in like a flower shirt. So like you can tell that
Yeah, I think
you can
Kavika
tell
is,
that
like,
there's
the
a
lead, and then she like
Yeah.
works for her and like her team.
we're in this room to see what they do. They think they're under an inspection, so that's what Kathika tells all of them, that they're under an inspection here.
And none of them
And-
seem to care. Except for Suki.
Okay. Yes. The rest of this room has no personality.
None.
It was
They look
it was
like
a
they
little
might as well just be
disappointing.
zombies.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing that they all don't do anything.
Like they
in
don't
this
react
at
like
all.
management. Like they're just
Yeah.
like, okay.
They
like,
just
whatever.
sit there. You could maybe make that part of what the point of the episode is, but it felt a little like you're not doing anything
Yeah.
with this. So
Right.
she tells a circle of people that news and they're going to do the news and journalism right now, and that it must be unbiased as it is company policy. As she like turns and smiles at the doctor, thinking like she's kissing ass.
Like, see?
And
like we are doing it properly. This is by the book.
And Suki says, actually, it's the law. Like, you have to have it unbiased because that's the law.
Yeah.
And Kathika gets in this
Dental
dentist
chair? Yeah.
Thank you, yes.
Definitely a dental chair.
And they put their hands over these fingerprint outs that I feel like have been used in a previous Doctor Who episode that we've watched too, but they just painted them green this time. It just looks familiar because it's the big. Maybe it's not, but it's like a bubble, it looks like a rubber mat.
It looks like something. It looks like
fingerprints.
It's a very sciencey, sci-fi type of deal where it's like, aha, put your handprint with inside this mold of a handprint, and it's going to, scan. I feel like it's just a very sci-fi thing.
Yeah, they all do that. Kathika snaps her fingers. Really bad CGI opens up on her forehead, exposing her brain, which was very strange. And this CGI does not hold up at all. I'm pretty sure, Rachel, that I could on a Teams or Zoom call, I could place a dot on your head and we could have the exact same look today that this CGI looks like.
Right. Yeah. No, I think so.
It did not hold up.
No. I also the weird science of the brain having to be exposed for this also
makes
bothers me.
No fucking sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah,
so
I don't like it.
The Doctor explains. So
I like
this
the idea of screwing with the other guy once the brain stuff, but the actual science of it, I just.
All right, I was on board for the time travel, all the aliens.
Yes,
that's all fine. But the brain acting as a computer, get the hell out of here.
That's okay. Sure, fine. Even though because the brain kind of functions like a computer anyways, right? But why does it have to be exposed?
Computer, First of all,
it would be slow as shit.
200,000 years in the future, today a computer can do more than your brain can.
Yeah.
If we're thinking 199,000 years into the future, it's exponentially. A human brain is worthless at this point.
Well, I think that's the Doctor's point. Like, you guys are using stupid technology.
All right. Fine. All right, fine. She got me on that. Because what the Doctor explains is that it reports from everything, because I guess all of these journalists are gathering news from across the galaxy.
Right.
And then they're using their brains connected with this machine and Kathika's
so I think they're
brain.
Like filtering and like moving stuff around and transferring it to different areas and stuff.
So they're like, oh, her brain acts as a computer, and Rose is like, then she must be a genius. And he's like, no, her head would explode because she couldn't take that much information.
Yeah, she wouldn't be able to comprehend all of that.
It just acts as like a conduit or something, and then beams it out all over the place. So everything goes through Satellite 5, every fact. And he thinks that's like a lot of power then, because everything has to be filtered through this satellite.
Right. Yes, this like satellite is holding the truth and like can divvy it up the way they want to.
Yeah, we think that the security breach that Simon Pegg was looking for was going to be the Doctor, like I said, but it turns out it was Suki.
Yes.
So Suki gets zapped or something, or because the mind thing Simon Pegg detects her, it like causes a glitch. Mm-hmm. And it like stops the flow of information from happening.
I think so, because I don't think he wants her connected to that information anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I think he like forces the quit type of thing, force shutdown on this computer. Like,
yeah, and you press Control-Alt-Delete.
Control-Delete. Open the task manager.
Yeah.
Stop this program, which is
restart
Suki.
Anyway. Yeah. Clear cache on Suki. We think
blue screen appears.
Adam thinks the tech is amazing, which is consistent to his character because he was a tech guy in the last episode as well. And the Doctor figures out that, okay, this is where he says, like, yeah, this is half-assed technology. This doesn't make any sense. And Rose goes, trouble? And Doctor goes, oh, yes. So they, like, both are like, ooh, an adventure.
Smile, like, ooh,
yeah.
Yay!
They both get horny for danger.
They do. They really do.
That's their big thing.
Yep.
So some creature growls at Simon Pegg that we can't see, and he apologizes to the growling thing, and a screen on a wall says that they're going to give a promotion back in the newsroom. So Simon Pegg is kind of telling this creature that, like, yeah, we're going to take care of it. There was an encryption or something, and we weren't able to figure it out, but now that we have, we can take care of it. Mm-hmm. So the promotion is for Suki, because what we're finding out, what we do find out is that you get promoted to the 500th floor, and that promotion really means that you get murdered.
Yeah, murdered, frozen, and then used as a computer conduit, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I did like the line where she's like, where Kathika is like, how did you get promoted? I'm above you. And she was like, oh, I applied on the off chance. Just like this idea that, like, yeah, like, well, I still, like, there's still applications to be promoted.
Yeah, it's not just like who's in line for what next.
They go to see Suki off. Suki's going to go up to the 500th floor, and she thanks the doctor for being her good luck charm. So Suki asks the doctor to hug her, and the doctor says he'll hug anyone because he's a hug slut.
I don't think he said hug slut.
Well, he did say he'd hug at everyone.
Okay, that's
and
true.
I just want hug slut to become a phrase. Folks at home, can we get that going? Can we get hashtag hug
I'm
slut?
a hug slut.
That's a t-shirt. We could make that a t-shirt.
Honestly, yes.
I'm a hug slut.
Yes.
That's a great t-shirt.
That's a fantastic t-shirt. Get those printing. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get that going. Folks, let us know if you want a t-shirt.
Would you like
that
to be
says
like...
I'm a hug slut. We'll get that Shelf Life merch ready.
Shelf Life hug slut.
Yeah, you got to like and subscribe and rate and, do all that good stuff
do all that stuff.
You can get our hug slut shirts. Adam is freaked out.
As you would be, I guess.
Because, you see this going on, and you know that you're in the future. Like, it's a lot to take in.
It's just a lot, yeah.
And he wants to acclimatize to this new time. So he's like, I just need to be alone to kind of think. Which
That's
Rose, again, understands. But he appeals to Rose's thoughts, because that's what Rose did. Like, Rose needed to do that, too.
Yes.
So she thinks, or she understands where he's coming from. So he's like, well, I'm going to just go sit on the observation deck, pretend I'm a citizen here. And he says, like, you just stay with the doctor. There's no dialogue or anything. He just waits a minute and then goes, you'd rather be with him anyway, wouldn't you? And she's like, thinks about it. Like, her eyes go up like...
Yeah, her eyebrow raises.
Yes,
Because it's kind of go, well... That's kind of what I see that as, like a well...
Yeah. Because she doesn't want to say yes, because I'm finding out that you're just...
kind of a
this
weasel.
fuckboy. But yeah, this very, very bland, very, very bland. He is the meat slushie. He is the meat slushie.
He's the meat. It was a metaphor for Adam.
It was a metaphor. Yes.
Oh, it makes so much more sense now.
He's nothing but ground beef slushie.
He's not a blue slushie. He's a meat slushie.
Mm-hmm. Just a big meat slushie.
Gross.
Even when the whole place defrosts at the end of the episode, it's them defrosting on Adam because he's a slushie.
That's
it
right.
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense.
All makes sense. We got you,
Beautiful.
Russell Davies. Figured out what you're trying to do.
Thank you for the meat slushie.
I'm a meat slushie. Also could be a good.
I would hope your guys aren't meat slushies. Say you're better than a meat slushie. We'll put a little greater than sign.
I'd wear a shirt that says, show me the meat slushie. So she gives him, like an idiot,
yes,
the key to the TARDIS.
I guess if he wants to just go sit in the TARDIS, like, I don't want to be with these people, I'm just going to go sit in the TARDIS. I guess.
But you've known this man for literally like 17 hours.
I know.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I know. It was stupid. I agree.
It was very stupid. Your sugar daddy boyfriend gave you the key to his apartment.
Yes.
And then this fuckboy comes along and you're like, well, I guess if he's out of town, I can give him the key to the apartment so he can sleep on the couch.
It's worse than an apartment. It's like, here's the key to the airplane or something, because the guy could go take it for a
you're right.
joyride.
It's like the key, you're right. It is. It's like the key to the yacht.
The yacht. Yeah, because you can live on it.
This episode has a Biff Tannen storyline in it for sure. I thought we were going to get a little Biff Tannen and he was going to steal the fucking thing.
You kind of expect it.
I don't know how the hell they would have gotten it back, though. I guess it would have been a Biff Tannen, where he goes in time
and goes
comes
back to the past,
and then they have to fix it. They could have made a little arc out of that, actually.
That could have been interesting. I think they just wanted to get rid of this guy. I feel like the writers didn't even want him in this story.
We made a terrible mistake. This character sucks.
They immediately went, oh, how do we write him out of this? Like... Do we get him get murdered? I think we should kill him.
Russell, we know that you think this is a good character, but he's just not. So he's a prick. And he leaves and he goes to the observation deck. Suki leaves. Kathika's like, well, good riddance or whatever. And he's like, well, you're going to see her again. She's just going upstairs. And she says that you need a key to the lift to get up there. And once you're up there, you never come back. So...
Yes. And that part made him go, what? Like, that's weird, too.
Well, yeah, it was like the first thing where he's like, how come you've never, like, questioned any of this? Like, why don't you think that that's weird?
Right.
This is some more good production design on this whole Floor 500. It's charmingly cheap, I think. Another thing that you could put on my resume / t-shirt / bio is charmingly cheap.
Charmingly cheap.
Shelf Life Kevin, charmingly cheap.
Not a meat slushie, but charmingly cheap.
Not a meat slushie. Charmingly cheap, yes.
That's right.
Charmingly cheap, like a value meal. She exits the lift, and it's a frozen room, and ice is falling, or snow is falling. I couldn't quite tell what they're going for here, but it is clearly very cold.
I guess
and
it's like if you're in a freezer, and like the air is blowing and there's just ice everywhere.
There's this ice, yeah. The door shuts behind her, so she takes out a flashlight that she conveniently had in her bag for some reason. Maybe actually...
Once it's revealed.
What? Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I guess it makes a bit more sense.
Yeah. And then she starts investigating because she is a journalist after all. So she starts going through the Floor 500 to try to figure out what the hell's going on. This is a very deep cut. I don't know if you'll even get this reference, Rachel.
Okay.
This is some Clonus horror shit. This area reminded me of. So there is I only know it from Mystery Science Theater, but there's an MST3K episode that they cover a movie called The Clonus Horror. You'd like that episode, Rachel. Look it up. There's a scene in that movie where they freeze a man. Like, put him into a deep freeze, like, unbeknownst to him, like, he's going to be put into, like, a deep freeze.
Okay.
And then, like, put him in one of those E.T. plastic bags. And...
To freeze him? So he needed to be in a freezer bag so he wouldn't get freezer burned while he's being deep frozen.
like you do.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what this reminded me of, with these plastic curtains and stuff like that. It just had same look. So, for anybody out there that's seen that MST3K episode, I think you might know what I'm talking about. So the circle room is there, just like the one that we already saw, but this one is behind some plastic curtains, like I said. It's, like, dead. And then there's corpses all around the circle room. So there's, like, a bunch of dead bodies in this. I like the imagery. I was trying to figure out how the hell those bodies got there and why, like, what happened here. Or I guess you're supposed to believe that the alien thing... This floor was working at one point, and then the alien thing, like, killed everyone in it and kind of took it over?
I think so. I think the same thing is still happening, where they're just, like, taking people, killing them, and then just using the components that are integrated into them until they decompose. Because, I mean, it's like a frozen room, so They will decompose in a slower rate, because we know our other human friend in here is still alive, so it's not too cold that it's going to, like, the cold itself is going to kill you.
Right.
But I think that's kind of the idea. They just, for some reason, aren't disposing of the bodies. Like, I'm surprised the alien doesn't eat them, but, you know.
Well, we'll get to that alien in a few. So a light emerges. I thought he looked like a reverse butthole, like an anus that's been like a dog butt.
Oh my god.
We'll get to that. So a light emerges and she goes towards it. She hesitates and then goes in and finds Simon Pegg. He says that he's the editor, so I guess that is really his name, is the editor. And he asks her to confirm her name. And he calls her a liar a few times as he pulls up, like, her profile or, like, her, video resume where she's going over her background, and he just goes, liar, liar, liar. And what we find out is she is a surviving member of the Freedom 15, which is some sort of liberation group and an anarchist group.
Right, they call themselves anarchists, is what he says.
I wanted to know a little more about this too, because I was like, oh, that's interesting that, like, some people know something's up, but a majority of the world doesn't. So, like, these are like the terrorist freedom fighter type things. So she pulls a gun on him.
She does.
And he laughs.
Space gun.
Yeah, space gun. It is a space gun.
It is a space gun.
Zap. Zap. He says... It took Rachel a second to get that one, and then she was like, yep, all right, I got it. He laughs and says, here's the truth. Why does he say that? I don't know why he says
There's
that.
the truth. Like, you are, like, now you're acting like
truth.
the real person you're supposed to be. You're not pretending to put on this facade anymore.
Okay. He kind of gives up the goods, and she, like, figures it out. The facts are being manipulated. He's lying to the people. The whole system's corrupt. And he says, I'm just a slave to the editor-in-chief. He oversees everything. And he's like, you have to look up to see the editor-in-chief. And she does, and the creature growls, and he points and says, that's your boss. And she fires the space gun at him, and something comes kind of toward her based on the camera movement, and she screams. Back in the observation deck, Adam...
And that's the end of her. She's gone.
That is the end of Suki. Yeah, she's dead.
Seemingly.
Back in the... Yeah, seemingly. Back on the observation deck, Adam, looking like a dweeb, puts his hand in the information... puts his hand in the information kiosk.
This poor actor, because he kind of just looks like a dweeb.
He looks like a dweeb. I'm sorry. He looks like a dweeb.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Some people just look like dweebs. I'm sure some people might think I look like a dweeb. This guy for sure, though.
Oh, no.
Kind of dweebish.
He's a dweeb.
He's a dweeb. He thinks he could learn anything by putting his hand in the information kiosk, and he says computers from the 21st century, and he wants to figure out the history of the microprocessor, but all he's getting back is a bunch of alien gibberish.
Is he? Yeah, I guess he is. Like, right? Like, it is... I think for us it's showing, like, alien gibberish, but is it
should
supposed
be able to
be...
tell based on the TARDIS, though? Like, or can you only translate
No, it translates...
words?
It translates written as well.
Okay.
I'm wondering if he does understand it, though, because, like, the way he does, like, the oh my god, like, I think he is getting information. Maybe that was just, like, the loading screen that we get to see, and then it, like, actually shows something. I don't know. I think it's supposed to just be like, look at all the data moving, like... And then maybe he was getting some information, but technically you'd have to have, like, the chip or something to absorb the actual information, right?
Yes. He tries to Marty McFly the computer, right? He's trying to gain a bunch of info. He's trying to figure out the future tech. It doesn't work like you said, so it advises him to go to floor 16.
Right, because he even calls his parents' house again to leave a recording, and he's reading off of the screen stuff that he is going to want to know to either invest in or, I'm assuming, invent himself, like one or the other, and make millions off of it.
Yeah. Since he's an idiot, he does go down to the 16th floor.
Right.
Now, I think it was the director. I read this on one of the Doctor Who wiki pages, and then there was like another like article that kind of showed it. The director in the commentary for this episode on the Blu-ray said that in the original script, Adam was supposed to not just have one motive of being just a total dweeb. It was supposed to be also that, like, his mom or dad had arthritis or was sick or something, so he was trying to find a cure. But that's not in this episode. So
it's not at all. In this, he
No.
just wants to get rich and
He's
famous or
absolutely
whatever,
just trying to
and
get
that's
rich.
it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's nothing like wrong with his family. He doesn't have like a, oh well, I want to do this for them.
And he
there's
doesn't.
nothing
He
good
never
about him. He's
looks
just an ass.
any of that up. He only is looking up microprocessors and computers and wants to know how to
Exactly.
like become king of the internet, just like his old boss was.
Exactly.
That's what I think he's trying to do.
Honestly, I think you're right. I think he's doing that because that's where he learned it.
We learned that Kathica is not allowed on any of the other floors. Everyone stays at the same floor because that's like where you live, because it's supposed to be that dystopian corporate owns you kind of thing. She figures out they aren't management, so they're like, oh, smart one. Figured out that we're not management. But she doesn't want to be a part of anything. She is a reluctant member of the Doctor Who Save the Day committee.
Right.
Where she's
yes.
like, nope, I don't want to be part of it. I don't want to be
Right.
part
Well,
of it.
she doesn't
I
want
don't
to be a
wanna
part of it because she's just so totally career motivated.
Yes,
that she's
career
like, you're gonna
motivated.
get me fired. Get out of here.
Yep. That's good. That's a good way to put it. And he questions her and her motives. He asks why there's only humans on board, and she's like, I don't know. There's a bunch of little problems with, threats and things like that. And he's like, well, what kind of threats? And she's like, well, this price of space warp doubled because I guess, the spice planet, the Harkonnens weren't letting people get their spice. And, a government collapse.
It's all
There's just a bunch
connected.
of little reasons. Yeah.
But like every time he'd ask a question, she goes, I don't know, maybe this. I don't know, maybe this.
Yeah.
Like that
And-
was
and-
always her
and-
way of answering.
His point is, but you're a journalist. You should be thinking of these things. This one, hello, message kind of hammers home like the commentary of like,
Don't be blind
journalists
to this
should be
kind of
asking
stuff.
questions. Don't be blind, especially if you're a journalist. You should be asking questions and trying to figure things out.
And finding the truth and
Yeah. And he says like, okay, well, it's all these little things, but it adds to one big fact. There are no aliens here. There are no aliens allowed on the satellite. Mm-hmm. And she's like, we see everything. And he says, well, I see better. Which, of course, is just, I'm figuring out is classic Doctor, like, I know more than everybody, so fuck you.
yeah.
But he says there's a bunch of backwards attitudes. Something is stunted. Something's holding this place back. And it's being set back about 90 years. Where is... Like, when did Satellite 5 first come up and running? And she says about 91 years ago.
Right.
So it's, like, very well hand in hand. Back on floor 16, which looks like a lens crafter's,
Yeah, of
Adam... It does.
Yeah. It does. No, it does.
And Adam walks up to one of the tables to get his glasses adjusted and finds an agent who... And he acts daft about all of this. He's posing as a student. He tells her, like,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
a
because
student.
she asks, "Are you a student?" And he goes, "Yes, from Mars." And she's like, "Ugh,"
Yes.
because of course there actually is a university on Mars, and
Which is canonical to Futurama as well.
of course,
And
yes.
and on Futurama it is also a backwards planet. So that all works out. Do you go to Wang University on the University of Mars? Wasn't it her parents had the university? Wasn't that the...
I think it is. Yeah, I think at least
she's an
one of
intern
the schools
from
was.
there?
Yes,
Yeah. But the Mars is the Boondocks in this.
of course. Which also feels
Universe.
about right.
Yeah, it would be. I would live there. Like, it seems like it'd be peaceful. You probably
Doesn't-
a lot of probably a lot of like pickup trucks on the front lawns though. and
That's
stuff
kind
like
of what I
that.
was picturing for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know why, but that is what I was picturing.
But if you
Pickup
get
truck
but if
aliens.
you get enough land, you get enough of a good view. Maybe.
Not
it'd be
true.
okay.
Yeah, you could farm potatoes on Mars.
You can. Matt
That's right.
Damon taught me that.
Exactly.
They
You can have
just
your own
taste
little
kind
farm.
of. They taste like your shit, but it does work.
It's just fertilized with it. It's not
Yeah.
gonna taste like.
He did not seem to think that those tasted well.
I mean, you didn't have any spices. Now you gotta trade with the other spice
is a
planet.
You're right. You go back to the Harkonnens. She
That's right.
gets- You're right.
Here's my
okay.
poo potatoes. Now I need some spices for them.
We love poo potatoes.
On Arrakis, you can't get a good poo potato.
That governor would love poo potatoes.
All right, so
Just
save
saying.
that. Folks at home, save that whole bit for the year 2034 when we do Dune, and we'll come back to poo potatoes, because I do want to save that. I'm going to do a whole 5-minute bit of Baron Harkonnen doing poo potatoes. Okay, cut. The whole reason that we took over Arrakis was for the poo potatoes, and the Fremen won't let us near them. It's the only place in the galaxy you can get a good poo potato. Anyway. He's like, well, isn't that like brain surgery? You're gonna put a chip in my head, and she's like, well, we don't like to use that term. It's very
That is
non-PC.
an old term.
It's not very woke to be saying brain
Apparently.
surgery. They stopped subsidizing brain surgery as well, so he's gonna need money. And he's like, he walks away. And he's like,
It's
okay,
not
well, I have
covered in
money.
your insurance, you know. It's
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, they
That's
stopped
extra.
covering that in the insurance. Yeah, it's cosmetic. You don't need
right.
this. It's cosmetic.
You don't.
I mean, typical, dystopian future here. There's no health care. It's not subsidized, especially as a
right.
student. He doesn't need this information. He can open up a book instead.
That's right. Old-fashioned, read a book.
He does remember, though, that he has the stapler credit. So he's like,
And
oh,
she gets
I've got this.
so excited about that. She's like, oh, I'm about to steal that. Like, that's what
Yeah,
it felt like.
She starts to upsell him like a used car salesman here.
Oh, yeah, she does.
No offense to the used car salesman listening to Shelf Life, but
But
it's
you
a
know what
phrase.
you do.
Yeah, you know
what you do.
you know
That's
what
this
you
person
do.
is doing right now.
So she's trying to get him to open up his head for the info spike. What it turns out is because he's like, well, I don't have $10,000, because she says like, well, it's 10,000 for it's like 1,000 for the little one, and it's 10,000
Which is
for
like
the
this
big.
microscopic,
Yeah, which would just let him be connected to it, which would have been enough.
Oh, yeah.
Mind you, because he still could have downloaded the information into his
Exactly.
head.
Yes.
Instead, she's like, well, for 10,000 you can get the info spike, and you can get bad CGI put in the middle of your forehead,
Exactly. Wouldn't you want bad CGI?
and you can transmit stuff like back and forth from the satellite. Mm-hmm. And who wouldn't want bad CGI?
I do. I want it all.
And he's like, well, I don't have enough if it's 10,000. And she's like, no, you have unlimited credit, because the doctor, like an idiot, gave him unlimited credit.
Well,
I
he
guess
probably
just
didn't think
because
he was
it's
going to
like-
check it, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
oh,
like
he's going to
Homer
get some
giving-
snacks.
It's like Homer giving Bart like $250 and just being like, go do whatever you want.
Exactly. Well, I think he was more so giving it to Rose, and then Rose gave it to him.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
Rose, bad babysitter, you're supposed to keep that stuff on you,
Because she's
not
got
give it to the
hots
child.
for him. I've got the hots for him.
Not anymore. She didn't seem that hot for him right at the beginning when he's passed out. She was already done with him.
He tries to find a way out of it, and he keeps trying to find a way out of it, but she convinces him and upsells him enough because he's a douche. He signs up for it.
Meanwhile,
Here's the thing about this whole
Okay.
Spike Zone thing. Literally 10 years, not even, after this episode aired, not needed. Because they're like, the whole history of the human race can be in your head. And it's like, yes, I also have a cell phone. Like,
Right.
you don't need this.
well, I think it's just that it's like an instant way of getting information versus looking it up on your phone. Like,
Sure, like it's right
you just
there.
go, all
Yeah.
right.
You just know
and then
it. Yeah.
there it is. Like, it's just supposed to be that quick, but there seems to be this still middle ground. Like, if the doctor said this is primitive technology and it's stupid, why are you putting it in your head? Like, that's
Yeah.
my only thought.
Well, because
too.
it's serving his needs. It's just
sure.
not.
That's true.
Yeah. Simon Pegg finally realizes that the doctor is outside the parameters, that he's not doing whatever
he doesn't
thinks
belong.
that. Yeah, that he doesn't belong. And the creature growls again, and Peg says, well, he's going to look into it, he's going to figure it out. Quadruple check. Kathika is debating about helping them. She's just going back and forth this entire time that, like, the doctor and Rose are, like, in like the vents, like just playing with wires, and there's monitors in the closets. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Maybe it's like a server closet or something. I don't
know.
Or
Or they pulled one of the monitors off the wall, and now they're looking through the wires, I think.
Right.
And the doctor's like, look, Kathika, you can either be with us or you're not. Rose is asking the right questions. Why is it so hot? And like, it reminded me of... This is a very stupid reference. It reminded me of that scene in Accepted. They're like, you can't get into college. We started your sister off early. She has a shot. And then the mom goes, she has a shot. And then the sister goes, I have a shot. You remember that? Like, it had that same kind of like better than you attitude where Rose kind of gave her a look like, yes, I am asking the right questions.
Right. I am. I did the right questions. Maybe you should.
The doctor wants
get
me,
on my
bitch.
Level.
Not you, me.
She does this all the time. Whenever there's like another person, she's just like, no, I gotta be better than them. I have to be better than them.
She's so afraid of losing her spot.
This is my seat on the TARDIS. I ride shotgun, damn it.
He's messing with stuff in the cabinet. Simon Pegg gets a reading of like what the doctor is, and it turns out that they say he is no one, and Rose is no one. They're non-entities. And he's like, well, we know what we do with non-entities. Like, how bizarre. So he's like, okay, we'll promote them. Like, let's bring them up and find out what's going on. The doctor finds the computers fascinating. He's like, the ventilation system's pulling heat. I did not quite understand this. The ventilation system is pulling heat down. So they're taking any heat that's being generated. Something's generating a lot of heat at the top, and then it's being pulled down into the other floors.
Right. Like, it's like... Something is generating that heat, so they're like, okay, well, if we pull that heat and blow it down to the other floors, we can keep the cold air up? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Yeah.
You'd think they would have wanted, like, why didn't the alien just go, can I be on the bottom floor? Because heat rises and cold air sinks, so if I'm on the bottom floor...
Go on the bottom floor.
Yeah.
It's a floating satellite.
Right.
It's not like everyone comes in the bottom floor and is going to see the butthole monster. That's not how...
I mean, then he would be at the right spot, though. He's at the bottom.
Then he would be at the right spot. He is a power bottom. So she says that you can't get up onto the 500th floor without a key. And he says, well, keys are just codes, and I've got the codes right here. I don't know how he figured out this code, but he hacked into it. I'm assuming he's in the sonic screwdriver.
My assumption is... He's in the system. Nobody touches the systems this way, anyways, anymore. Because she even seemed surprised. Like,
should have had Adam help, because then he would have. Because he's a hacker.
Because he's a little bit of a hacker. Yeah. I mean, the doctor kind of does some hacking too.
I'm a hacker.
Yeah, but this is like future technology hacking. This kid doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
No.
So the doctor probably uses, the sonic screwdriver and tapped a few buttons and said, there's the code. Dum-dums.
So he finds the code to be able to get up, and then someone up there likes me, and Peg laughs because he's like, yeah, it was almost like Simon Pegg was letting him do it, but at the same time,
I think he gave him the code. I think he was going to hack it, and then all of a sudden it just displayed it. Here you go. It just
displayed. Mm-hmm.
Come on up. We want you up here.
Which you'd think that he would realize that he's walking into a trap then.
Doesn't he? Kind of.
I think he kind of does, yeah.
Because he's like, well, somebody wants me up there. Like, yep, good. I get to talk to the one that's doing this now.
Meanwhile, Adam is done with surgery, and he asks, how do you activate it? And she goes, you just do it with a snapping your fingers. She says, click of your fingers, which for our British listeners, is that how you say snap your fingers? You click them? Because here in the...
I guess if you click them together, right? It's a snap.
On this side of the pond, we snap them.
Yes. Which also, I mean, I don't know. Either way. Click of the tongue, snap of the fingers. Different things to me.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Kathika won't go up with Rose and the doctor, and they are like, okay, fine. Looks like Adam is bowed out. Kathika doesn't want to come, so it's just you and me. And they both smile at each other and hold hands going up the elevator, and they make out on their way out.
Yeah, you'd kind of expect them to. Yeah.
I still think Rose... Okay. She has reverse Harry Potter syndrome. Because you know how in every single time magic is used, Harry's like, wow, magic. Yes. To the
Yes.
point where it's like, you're 17. You've seen all of this magic by now, man. Rose has the opposite effect, where she's like, it's the year 200,000, and we don't know what the hell's going on, but we're going to go up and we're going to kill it. Let's go. And it's like, Rose, the doctor who has seen it all and done it all doesn't know what's going on. Maybe hesitate a bit before running into every single
she's
scenario.
ready. She's ready to just go in guns blazing. I think that's why he likes her. Like, I think that's why he keeps her around, is because she's like ready to just
she's
run
very
into
gung-ho.
any situation. Mhm.
Exactly, yeah. Adam opens up his head by snapping his fingers, and he gets sick. I would have got sick of, what did I just do to myself? I guess that's what it is.
Right.
They installed for free the Vomit-O-Matic, which freezes your puke when you get sick.
I guess,
So you
yeah,
don't
because there's
puke?
like little micro spots on the back of his throat. You know, I'm all right with this.
Yeah.
That one you can
You
put
want
on
you want that
everybody.
one installed in you?
Not me, and everybody else would be great. I don't want to deal with that crap.
Yeah.
You know,
They
it's
end
fine.
up they end up on floor 500. I wrote, because this is when the doctor says to Rose, maybe you should go back downstairs. And she's like, nope, too bad, I'm sticking around.
Yes.
And this is where I wrote, maybe the doctor should be a little more firm of like, I'm appreciate it, Rose, but I really don't know what's going to happen here. Why don't you go back downstairs? And
I think he doesn't want to command her to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
the whole idea, is he's letting her choose what she wants to put herself through.
Okay.
I thought you said that the doctor was commenting on her Brazilian, and I went, what? Because I was like, are you talking about the wax job? And then I was like, what did I miss?
Nope. Did not say that.
I still don't know what word you said.
Resilience.
Resilience with an R.
Yes.
I still heard Brazilian when you said that again.
Did you go get Brazilian back when we were
Is that what they were doing in the elevator? It took long enough to get to floor 500.
It took a long time to get up there. And they're like, oh, did you stop off on floor 24? Got yourself a Brazilian, did you?
Okay.
Anyway, they find the editor. He explains how this is fascinating, that he can't find them anywhere. Which again is like commentary, because it's like
he
you're
doesn't
not on
exist
any
on the
social
census.
media. I can't find any credit card information on the dark web. I can't
Right.
find your social security numbers. Everyone's registered but you. So like, who are you? Rose immediately sees Suki and that she's dead.
Yeah, she's like a frozen zombie. Like, that's what it is.
The doctor explains that there's chips in everyone's head, so they're using the chips. Like the bodies are just using the
They're
chips
just
are just
vessels.
using them. Yeah. So he asks who the doctor is, and the doctor tries to leave, but they grab him, which, like, of course was going to happen, because, like, the doctor's like, okay, it's time to go. Like, I think he's almost like, let's go back to the TARDIS and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, he does seem like, I want a different way of, like, let's go back.
We need to go
loop.
back 91 years and see what happened here. Which, by the way, Doctor, is what
No, he
you
doesn't
should
do
be
that.
doing.
He can't. He has to
Why
save it at the
not?
point that he's at. Because
Why
I think
can't
it
he go
causes
back?
issues. It causes rifts.
But he doesn't. But like this wasn't supposed to happen. So isn't there already like a problem?
I see I don't know. I'm not a Time Lord.
I know I'm not supposed to think about these things when it comes to a time.
No,
travel
I mean
show.
it makes sense. You'd think like, oh, why can't we go back to the point where this happened? And he just goes, no, butthole alien, you can't plant yourself into this satellite and take over. Go away. Like, but I don't think that's how it works, because now it's like going back on that timeline, and now there would be like the multiple timeline thing happening, and then there would be like a rift occurring because he went back to change it instead of like changing it in the now time. I think it just screws up with his own timeline as well. So he's like, well, I can't screw that up, because like would I come to this point if I changed it in the past? You know, it's the same thing with Back to the Future. You change something in the past, now there's a parallel timeline, you know?
I mean, that's fine. I've gone cross-eyed trying to think about it.
Of course.
So I know we're not supposed to think about it, but it is. But I just keep thinking like, well, why don't you just go back to the 91 years and see what happened, and then you can get the timeline back on track of where it's supposed to be.
Sure.
Anyway, I feel like there's a bunch of universes in this. I think that the timeline is all fucked up anyway, but that's my hypothesis on this whole thing.
I wouldn't put it past it. Yeah.
It's like when the X-Men go to the future and something's happened and it's like, oh, is this a future? And it's like, it's a possible future.
It's a possible one.
And it's like, I think that's what all of this shit is. The doctor's like, well, since the only thing that's keeping us alive is the fact that you don't know who I am, I'm not going to tell you who I am. And Peg is like, okay, well, fine. I'll be a little straight with you then. This is not the fourth human empire. It's just where humans live. And then the thing growls again and he goes, okay, correction. This is where humans are allowed to live. Mm-hmm. And then the alien in charge is shown. And as we said, it looks like a prolapsed butthole.
I thought it looked like a really like red and pussy pimple monster.
Pimple. Yeah, it could be a pimple monster. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's a pimply butthole. It is what it is.
And not a great CGI character either.
Oh no, yeah.
It's a little rough.
It's kind of as expected.
I wrote down in my notes, I won't even try to say what this thing's name is, but I am going to give it a shot. It is the mighty Jagrafes of the Holy Hadrojasic Maxarodenfo.
Yeah. I think the word Jagrafes comes back up, but I don't think the rest of that does. He said call him Max, so you could just call him Max.
Yeah, I'm just going to call him Butthole Alien. Kathika, due to her suspicions now, she goes to the top floor using the code that the doctor had given her, and then the editor explains the right word in a broadcast enough times can create fear, it can create everything, it can cause people to think this, it can cause people to think that. It's about fake news. It's all about fake news. It's a metaphor for fake news.
Propaganda, fake news, how stuff is like used to manipulate people's thought processes.
Mm-hmm.
Create a climate of fear, and it's easy to keep the borders closed. It's just a matter of emphasis. The right word in the right broadcast repeated often enough can destabilize an economy, invent an enemy, change a vote.
So all the people on Earth are like slaves?
Well, now, there's an interesting point. Is a slave a slave? If he doesn't know, he's enslaved.
Yes.
Oh, I was hoping for a philosophical debate. Is that all I'm gonna get?
Yes.
Yes. You're no fun.
Whenever someone gets suspicious that something's up and something like this information isn't right, like this doesn't sound like it all, copacetic, and it's easy enough to control because they all have the chips, so he can either like kill them or he can wipe that from their memory or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we find out that he works for a consortium of banks because this is like the way to make money is by controlling the information and controlling what people believe. Again, about fake news. And again, about money.
Yes. A lot about money and information.
Mm-hmm. I did not understand the Jagrafess's backstory at all. So, like, he wanted to control the human race.
It's a little convoluted, I
feel
like.
But he works for a consortium of banks, so does the Jagrafess own the banks? Or was the
Jagrafess...
Like, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I think the banks, decided to partner with the Jagrafess so that they can control the satellite, because then the Jagrafess, I guess, kind of... I
didn't get it.
There's something about
confusing.
him creating heat and then the cold, and then they also control the rest of the satellite.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we can partner with you. You can stay here, and this will protect you from dying.
This will keep you alive. Yeah.
This will keep you alive, and we can, but we get to control the information of the satellite. So we want to keep the satellite going, but you can stay here.
Okay.
I think that's what it is, because I even thought that's a little. It's a
little
weird.
Yeah.
It's a little wishy-washy.
Yeah. Adam, again.
Oh my god.
Like an idiot.
Kumquat.
Hooks himself up into the circle seat, and calls his parents. And then he starts sucking in the data like Edward Nygma in Batman Forever. Yes. And trying to collect all of the data from the satellite. But because he's got the thing that goes back and forth, it's also rerouting all the information he knows into the satellite's database.
Yes.
They're trying to torture the doctor into giving him info And the doctor just gives it up slightly because he's like, I'm the doctor. This is Rose. We're nothing special. We weren't brought here by anybody. We just stumbled upon this place. We'll leave. Just let us go. And the editor's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. And then the editor just goes, oh, you're a Time Lord. And you travel in a TARDIS. Right. And he's like,
because collecting all of this from Adam. And he shows his picture up on the screen and says, look at your friend over here.
Yeah, look at this little fuck boy that you brought with. He's going to fuck you over the entire human race by being an idiot, trying to be Biff Tannen. And
even the doctor's like, what the hell did he do? Like,
yeah, the doctor's like, nah, you brought this stupid moron on the TARDIS. This should have been grounds to be like, you know what, Rose? You're going back. And you're not going with me for at least a year.
He could have said, you're grounded. Like, this is it.
Yeah,
Hold up.
You are grounded. Yeah. He's like, well, I'm not going to give you the TARDIS to Simon Pegg. And Pegg's like, I've got the key. Because he knows that Adam has the key. So he starts using some sort of retractable arm to grab the key.
Yeah, this was weird. Like, what? Was it a retractable arm? Was it just floating? Was there a magnet?
Like that
was weird. Like, why is it just like, ooh, key?
Yeah.
Like, okay, random. I mean, I know you wanted us to see that he has the key, but it was too much.
Mm-hmm. So now he thinks that this is going to give me, if I take the TARDIS, I can get endless information. Because even Simon Pegg at some point is like, it's so odd to not know something in like his mind. That's why he's like was like fascinated by the Doctor and Rose. Because he's like, it's so interesting to not know something. Just a fun little thing to think about. But he's like, I could go back in time. I could just stop the human race, or we can do whatever we want now. Me and my butthole friend. And
yes, because now we have control of time and not just information.
And the Doctor brings it all home by saying, you bred a human race that's too stupid to ask questions. They all believe lies, and they believe whatever you tell them and stuff. And this is where Kathika, because she's kind of overheard this by being in the room with them, overhears this.
I think he was even saying it louder for her to
so that she could hear it. Yeah, I think he realized that she was there, yeah. Mm-hmm. And Kathika uses the dead circle thing, like the circle thing that's been like, that was shown earlier. Mm-hmm. And she absorbs the info herself. So she disengages Adam.
Yeah, she like overrides his so that it'll come through her instead.
Yep. And the Doctor says she's using what she knows. And she reverses the filters via her mind, I guess, so that it gets hot upstairs.
I'm wondering if, like, the people who can actually connect this way, like, do they have control of the ship in some way, shape, or form? And, like, maybe because she's on, like, level 500, she has even more control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could buy that. Because it feels like only select people are supposed to have this CGI info spike thing.
That's what I'm thinking.
It causes it to get hot, and then she tells the editor that she should have promoted them years ago.
You would have killed me years ago because I'm going to screw you over now.
Oh, okay, I like that, because I was just thinking like, oh, she's just such a career woman that she's just like, she still should have promoted me. But I get your point.
Both.
Like it's a you should have killed me when you you should have killed me when you had the chance, Charles. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Like, look, I deserve that promotion, and I would be dead now, but you didn't give it to me, so I'm going to screw you over.
Yeah. So she destroys all the computers. Rose and the Doctor break free, and the Gabafrass is mad, or whatever the hell it's called. Jabberwocky.
Jagrafess?
That's the one.
Jagrafess? Yeah.
Jabrafrass.
Sassafras. Rose does that too. She can't say
Rose does do that.
The Doctor goes, Jagrafess. She goes, Jagrafess.
Yes.
I'm wondering, half of me is going, was that just the actress going, I don't know how the fuck to say this?
According to the trivia, Simon Pegg could not say that line, so the growls are to stop it from when he couldn't get through the line of saying the Jagrafess name. Rose struggles to get the Doctor out because she like got out of the chains or locks first.
Yeah.
Hers disconnected first, and then she uses the sonic screwdriver to get him out.
Right.
And then the Jabberfrass blows up from the heat, because I guess that's...
Well, because that's why the cold was keeping him alive, yeah.
Why doesn't he just float through space?
I don't know, because you'd think space would be nice and cold, so just have your ass hanging out. You know?
Yeah, you literally are one. Yeah. Yeah, just have your butt hanging out of the top of the satellite. Just be in the ceiling. Whatever.
That's right.
the Doctor and Rose start running off, and the Doctor tells the editor, like, hey, you probably should get out of here because this thing's going to blow up, because, like, he's going to get hot and expand and blow up.
Yes.
And Simon Pegg's like, you know what? I think I quit, to the Jabberfrass. And
right.
before he can leave, though, Suki, I guess because she's got, like, a little bit of a
I was like,
memory.
so she's still alive? Or is this, like,
well, the
there's,
chip
like, some
is
power
keeping...
still to the chip?
Yeah,
because
I think
everybody
the
else
chip
just kind of, like, falls, like, oh, no, no more power.
Maybe because she's
like...
recently deceased.
That's what
so
I'm
it's
wondering.
Like the chip's leaving a little bit of brain activity, so she was able to, like, grab... Because she grabs his leg and, like, stops him from being able to leave.
She just looks like a zombie.
Yeah.
Holding on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The whole place crumbles, the Jabberfrass blows up, and then they save Kathika at the same time. They, like...
Right.
Stop
Doctor
her
goes
from...
and snaps her fingers.
I thought it might be a better ending to have Kathika sacrifice herself by, like, giving the people all the information that's being held.
It would make sense, and I feel like it would actually, like, continue with
this trope.
Yes, where people tend to sacrifice themselves around him to do the right thing.
Yeah, death follows him.
Right. So but I think he wanted to save her, so she wouldn't do that because she was about to. She was about to die.
Yes, she was.
And I think it was in his mind. He's like, no, I'm not allowing this person to die. She's learned something.
She learned something. The Doctor says that now the timeline will accelerate back and they'll get back on track to where they're supposed to for the Fourth Human Empire. And I'm like, what? Okay, but they were 90 years behind, Doctor. So this taking 2 weeks? This taking 2 years? This taking 20 years? Like, what are you talking about? It's going to accelerate.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Again, this is why he should have gone back 91 years and blown up the Jabberwocky then.
I'm just saying he can't destroy the Jabberwock when it's going to interfere with his own timeline of actually, like, you know, wibbly wobbly. It's not. It's just not gonna. No. I don't know.
Nope. You can't do that. So then she says, like, well, what about, like, your friend, talking about Adam?
And he goes, he is not my friend.
Yes, he's very... He looks pretty pissed off. And
I
Rose...
wanted him to punch him so bad. I was like, punch him.
I wanted him to punch him. Like, just a good gut punch. Just
because
to, like,
even,
put
like,
a
frickin' Rose goes like, no, like, don't do it. And it's like, yes, do it.
Don't kill him.
Yes, do it. Yes.
Should've got a slug. Yeah. Adam tries to blame the Doctor.
Because he
still
like, does this shit. Now he's acting like a weasel.
This is your fault.
Yeah, he's even acting like a worse weasel now.
Yeah. They walk into the TARDIS and they walk back out and they're in Adam's home. And
he's
he
like,
realizes...
I thought you were gonna, like, just let me out on, like, just an airlock.
Space.
And I was like, yes,
no.
We all wanted that. We wanted to watch your head explode.
That is what we want. That's what I wanted.
I was also thinking of that movie when it comes to Total Recall, when it comes to how like this all was set up too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's a Total Recall.
It looks very Total Recall.
Definitely. He realizes there's a message left, and the Doctor destroys the voicemail.
Well, he destroys the phone. He's pissed because it's like, you could have just hit the delete button. Instead, the Doctor's like, fuck you and fuck your phone. And
fuck you, fuck your phone, fuck your timeline.
And walks, like, he, like, just stomps back into the TARDIS. Like, screw you, buddy.
Yeah, he's, like, ready to go. And he's like, you know what? Here's the thing, though. Because they both start snapping their fingers to, like, show that, like, oh, and you got this thing put in your head. And then Rose is that, like, oh, I just couldn't resist. I had to snap my fingers. Because, like, they keep snapping back and forth. Like, the Doctor snaps it open, and then Adam snaps it closed. And then Rose is like, stop it. You made your point, Doctor. And then she does it herself. Because she's like, I just couldn't resist. With her Billy Piper mouth.
Because it's one of those things where it's like, you were the idiot who put this in yourself.
Who put it in.
I honestly couldn't resist, like, screwing with you again, because it's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Adam says, I was just trying to help, and the Doctor's like, no, you were trying to help yourself. History could have changed because of this. Like, you could have destroyed the entire timeline because of this.
See?
And so he's like, you know what you have to do? You have to live a very average life. You have to live under the radar the rest of your life.
You can never go to poetry readings. You can't ever, like...
No. Here's what needs to happen. Because the lady tells Adam, you can determine how you want it
Yes.
to open. I don't know if he knows. I don't know if he has an owner's
I
manual.
doubt he
on
knows how to do this. That would be the only
otherwise
thing
he
that
has to-
saves him.
Yeah, he has to turn it into a phrase or something that he's never gonna hear, like "I love you."
Yes.
So that if he never, so that if like it's something that no one's ever gonna say in his presence, and then his head won't open.
Jaggerfest. He could just call it Jaggerfest.
Yes, Jaggerfest. Yeah.
You know, pimple butthole. Nobody's
Pimple
gonna say those
butthole.
things together.
They might, but he doesn't have time, nor did he read the manual.
Right.
So the doctor's like, you just cannot, do anything where, you can't become a conductor. You can't do a lot of stuff.
Otherwise, he's gonna have to wear really big hats or headbands, and
He's
I guess he's
walking
gonna have
around,
to become like.
he's walking around with like a 10-gallon hat on all the time.
That's what I'm envisioning. Yes. I just really like hats, and I got this wig now that has like fringe and everything that can cover his forehead.
Just really into hats. Adam wants to go with, and the doctor's like, not a fucking chance. He's like, I only take the best, and I've already got Rose. So of course he says that because they got a thing for each other. And then Adam, platonic love. And then Adam wants to tell Rose, like, let me go with. And she doesn't even really say anything. She just enters and leaves without him.
She's pissed. I think she's
mad at him.
pissed. Because she thought he was different, and she was completely wrong.
She's completely wrong. And the doctor was wrong too. Because again, why did you bring him in the first place? He was unnecessary.
He really was.
I will give them writing credit on this character. Because I could tell from Dalek, this guy's a douchebag.
Yes.
Even though he wasn't really portrayed as a douchebag. It was just this underlying, and credit to the actor, there's an underlying dweebiness about this character.
And you're just like, no, there's something gross and skeevy about him.
They had an arc for this character. So, because I think a lot of times when it comes to pop culture, you can be like, oh, that's bad writing. Meaning like, oh, I'm disappointed in that character. But you're not really disappointed in that character, you're disappointed in the writing. Because you're like, oh, that doesn't seem like something that character would do.
Oh, no, this was exactly what this character would do.
Yes, and Rose being dumb about giving him the key and shit
a little naive.
Was still in character.
Yes.
So I felt disappointed in Rose being stupid and letting Adam do this, but it was in character.
Yeah.
So I give them credit for that, because a lot of times it can be like, oh, I was disappointed in what Peter Parker did. But am I disappointed in Peter Parker because that's something he would do? Or is that something that the writer did and it doesn't fit the character?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm on the fence about the doctor letting Adam come along. But I think he's just trying to make Rose feel more comfortable.
Yeah, because Rose was like adamant, like, come on, let him come with. Like, he wants to see the stars too. Like, we
can drop him off after that.
I think she said just like one trip. And then he screwed up one trip. Like, for the love of God, kid.
Apparently, this is the first and only time, as of this recording, that the doctor has kicked a companion off of the TARDIS.
Wow. Well,
in a mean way. Or not. That's just what I'm.
It may be in a mean way
for screwing up.
Like, I could see him kicking them off to save them, or like kicking them off
for screwing up.
Right,
yeah.
but like
not
in a mean way.
They got fired
I love
as
you
a
way.
companion.
This is like, fuck you, buddy. Get the hell off my ship.
Yeah,
fair.
And the last scene is his mom comes home. Adam's mom comes home. And
who
says,
has way more personality than he does in the few seconds she's on the screen.
He hasn't been home for 6 months, and now that he's back, and man, time just goes by like that, and snaps her fingers, and the thing comes open, and that's the end. Yeah. Which, like, you gotta imagine. Now I want to know what happens to Adam. Like, I'm guessing he has to explain to his mom,
like, don't tell
something.
People.
Yeah, and don't tell anybody, because the doctor's whole point is, like, if you snap your fingers, they're gonna dissect you, and then you're gonna screw everything up, because then they're gonna have this shitty, bonkers, future, weird technology that shouldn't really exist.
Right. I mean, he's got that throughout his body. So, like, going to the doctor is going to be a non-thing. He can't do it.
And you know this thing's going to give him a brain tumor. Like, he's getting a brain tumor.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he can't even go through a metal detector, probably. He's got metal in his head and his throat. and is like everywhere.
I mean, you just say you got a plate in your head. It's fine.
I guess, sure.
You literally have a plate in your head.
That's also very true, yes. It just opens and lets the brain breathe.
I don't like that either.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Like, so much antiseptic. Are you rubbing Bengay on that thing? Like, what do you...
yeah.
Like,
Wouldn't you have to, like, keep it clean? Because you're going to get
I
an
would
infection.
think so. That's your brain.
Ooh. It would get
this
dusty.
is why this technology, not very good. You know what's
No,
better
it's awful.
technology? A smartphone. The smartphone does
an actual
the exact
computer.
same thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Or a computer with better processing power than your brain.
Yeah.
In any event, that is the end of the long game. Did I say when it debuted? Debuted on May 7th, 2005, if I didn't say.
That's fine.
Rachel, any thoughts or anything that you got out of this episode, revisiting it?
I'm still glad Adam is not a companion. Yeah. The Jagrafess is gross. I don't want surgery where my brain has to breathe. I guess. I don't know.
Fair.
No, but I mean, I liked it because I like all the weird future stuff. I kind of like that the whole ambiance of the thing. But I am glad that the Adam stuff was like taken care of in this, and like he is out of the picture.
So a couple of little notes for you on that. So I looked up on the wiki. Adam apparently comes back in some of the comic books.
You're kind of kidding. Does he become a villain?
He resents the Doctor, I guess, because of the aforementioned cut idea of him wanting to use the information not just for his own personal gain, but also to help his parents.
Interesting.
So he resents the Doctor for that. I don't know exactly what happens in these, but apparently he's in a couple of comic books.
I feel like I have to go look it up now to see if he becomes a villain, because you know what? Fine, this is his origin story.
And apparently the first draft of the script had Adam was more of the main character we were following, and Rose and the Doctor were more in the background, and then they flipped it. Probably because they realized that the character comes off more douchey, so you can't really...
It's hard to
follow him.
want to watch him.
So my thoughts on this is it's a random adventure, which I think is part of the Doctor Who process. I think that there are these one-off stories, which is fine. I know that that's kind of the thing. There's commentary about misinformation, so it's very pertinent now, the way that they are having some commentary about propaganda and misinformation and all that kind of thing, and controlling, and money is the driver of information and all that stuff. I did think that it was very fine.
Just fine.
As an episode.
Sure. Dalek was probably better.
It feels like a procedural episode of Doctor Who. And by that I mean, I don't know if this is just how Doctor Who kind of works as like a trope. Like, everything has tropes. Like, there's structure to everything. And I'm trying to figure out, did I find some of like Doctor Who's structure when it comes to these like stories? Because it's like, okay, they arrive at a place, the Doctor realizes something's wrong.
Okay.
They get a little bit of world building. Then they run into somebody who is a reluctant companion for that particular story. In this case, it's Kathika. It was Tree Lady. It was Sean's mom. There's always like
Adam.
It was Adam. There's always like somebody like that.
Yeah.
And then the story always ends up being about money at the end. Every single one of these stories has been about money, except for the one with Dickens. But outside of that, all of these plot points have kind of been the same. And then at the end, the companion person either dies or saves the day for them and dies. Like, something happens with that person. So, like, Kathika had happened here. Mm-hmm. Adam got to come along and then screwed it up, which I guess was the twist. But I can kind of see, like, okay, there's, like, a procedure to how Davies is at least writing this,
like that's
series.
kind of... I feel like that does feel like something that they kind of, like, stick to. It's almost like this is... Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can see that a lot, yeah. Which
I'm not complaining about or anything. I'm just like, okay, I think I get how these shows work. Dr. House, you can tell, like, everything's got something, a structure.
Of course.
I think I've got this down.
They show you the, spoiler alert, but they always show you the bad guy is like the first or second person that you meet in in that episode is always the one who did it.
And I think that's Scooby-Doo, right? It's the second person is always
There's
the
something
one
about that, yes.
Yeah.
The second person that they meet, like the main people meet, is the bad guy.
Yeah. So this one only okay. Definitely not tops so far of what I've seen out of Doctor Who.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But not enough world building and stuff to make it okay. So that was The Long Game, which means that we're getting tired here. We've got to head back to the TARDIS because
I think we do.
We've got to take a break here and really like discover some new timelines and stuff. Fantastic. So might take a little break from Doctor Who. We might come back here further down.
Let us know what you guys think.
Maybe another volume. Maybe a little further down the line because I think we've got 6 episodes remaining here of Doctor Who Series 1 to find out what happens at the end here, Rachel. Any foreshadowing?
Does Rose have ulterior motives with going with the Doctor? Do we find out more about the face of Bo? Who else do we befriend along the way? What is Bad Wolf?
And are there more butthole monsters? These questions and more will be answered next time on Shelf Life!
Like a slush puppy.
What flavour?
It's sort of beef.